Naruto, man, I'm going to be Hokage. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101 Gundam and Scalpers. Put the electromagnetic submachine gun in your hand back on the wall. Namikaze Mirai walked to the weapons rack aside and took out a metal sword. The blade is long and reflects the cold light. Orochimaru had curiosity in his eyes. Mirai-kun, is there anything special about this ninja sword? From the outside, this sword is not much different from an ordinary ninja sword. Except for a technological style. The rest are exactly the same as ordinary ninja swords. Namikaze Mirai smiled softly, and the fingers holding the handle of the knife gently flipped the switch under the knife. Laugh. Fierce orange flames instantly enveloped the entire blade, and a strong wave of high temperature air hit his face, making even the surrounding air hot. Namikaze Mirai swung a few times, and the blade wrapped in flames cut through the air, making a hissing sound. Ninjutsu? This was the first thought that came to Orochimaru's mind. There is a special kind of taijutsu in the ninja world, which combines the advantages of ninjutsu and taijutsu, called ninjutsu. The power is more powerful than ordinary physical skills, but it is very difficult to learn, and requires extremely high control over both taijutsu and ninjutsu. In the ninja world, only the ninjas of Cloud Hidden Village master a large number of this type of taijutsu. This high-tech ninja sword invented by Namikaze Mirai allows ninjas to easily master ninjutsu without having to study hard. It's another epoch-making weapon. Orochimaru let out a hoarse sigh of admiration. Turning the switch on the tandem again, the flame on the blade extinguished instantly, leaving only the burning red blade. There are other versions of this weapon. Namikaze Mirai picked up another sword on the weapon rack and flipped the sword switch. Bar. This time it was a violent high voltage current that swept over the blade. There is also a laser version. Unfortunately, the laser version has very high requirements for energy supply and transmission, and it cannot be used stably yet. There was a hint of regret in Namikaze Mirai's voice. Laser swords are much more difficult to make than thunder and fire swords. It takes technological breakthroughs to create a perfect version. But this time shouldn't be long. There is a towering electromagnetic tree in his mind. Every upgrade of electromagnetic force will also lead to the realization of many new technological systems. I suddenly started to look forward to it. If the ninjas of Konoha were equipped with this kind of weapon, how would the conservative ninja village be frightened when they saw it? Orochimaru's eyes were full of anticipation. The world has been the same for too long. The decay is like stagnant water that has been silent for tens of thousands of years. As long as you are in it, you can smell the smell of decay. But now, in the future, Namikaze might be able to set off a completely different trend in the ninja world. Orochimaru became more and more certain that his decision to stay in Konoha was right. Only here can you be the first to participate in this great change. Future-kun, there is something I don't quite understand, Orochimaru asked in a deep voice. Among the weapons stored here, except for the few that Namikaze explained to him in the future, he could more or less guess the uses of the rest. There is only one. He couldn't think of a use for it. In the innermost position of this space, there is a metal scaffolding, in which an exaggeratedly large metal giant can be vaguely seen, standing quietly in the shadows. Such a big giant. What is this for? Gundam, Namikaze Mirai explained. Gundam? Another term I have never heard of. Orochimaru frowned. You can think of him as a mechanical tailed beast. Mechanical tailed beast. A look of shock appeared in Orochimaru's eyes. Artificial tailed beast. He had a similar plan a long time ago. Using the Ninetales as a template, a mechanical Ninetales was created. It's just that due to technology and energy, it has never been possible. Unexpectedly, Namikaze Mirai has already done it. This Gundam is just a model I made using my abilities. It does not have the ability to drive. There is still a long way to go before we can build a real Gundam. Namikaze Mirai narrated in a deep voice. Building a Gundam requires overcoming many technical difficulties and is by no means something that can be completed in a short time. The Gundam Orochimaru saw was a template he pieced together using electromagnetic force To aggregate a large amount of metal. There are almost no mechanics inside. If he wants to drive, I'm afraid he is the only one in this ninja world who can do it. But maybe one day in the future it can really be built. Just when Namikaze Mirai was discussing with Orochimaru. In the outside world, the new medicinal liquid produced by the Umbrella Company has set off a wave in the ninja world. This brand new medicinal solution is almost as effective as any previous medicine. After discovering this new type of medicinal liquid, several major ninja villages also chose to reserve it. This made AI from Union Village more and more certain that his move was correct. Purchasing new medicinal liquids in advance has put him at the forefront. In the underground black market. The price of a bottle of new medicinal liquid has been increased several times. The procurement of several major ninja villages has made the amount of medicinal liquid circulating on the market scarce. Those circulating in the black market are even rarer. Ninjas who lick blood from the tip of their knives in the black market are happy to stock up on a few more bottles of new medicinal liquids. As bounty ninjas, they don't have medical ninja treatment. After an injury, medicine is the only way to treat it. Various factors add up. As a result, the black market price of new medicinal liquids has skyrocketed. There are also black market ninjas who are interested in the mysterious Umbrella Company. But even if they use the black market's information network, they could not investigate the origin of the Umbrella Company. The most I can find is that it is a new technology company. The company is in the country of Takino, and it seems to have branches in other countries. Umbrella Company? New liquid medicine. In the underground black market of the land of grass, Kakuzu, who had just finished hunting, was keenly aware of the benefits involved. Greedy light appeared in the dark green eyes. A ninja who has survived since the days of Senju Hashirama. He will not give up any opportunity to make money. If you can get a large amount of new medicinal liquid, you can resell it on the black market. Business. Huge business opportunity. Kakuzu made up his mind and just did what he said. Wandering around the black market, I found a ninja carrying a new type of medicine and immediately rushed to snatch it. Ordinary ninjas were no match for him. Some ninjas who recognized his identity were afraid of his fame and could only hand over the potion. Then a strange phenomenon occurred. The ninja who just bought a new medicine on the black market will soon sell the new medicine on the black market again. Rely on this hand to rob, sell, and rob again. Kakuzu managed to make a fortune. How can you make money? By wrestling someone who kills someone. Just as he was on his way back to the black market to wrestle the new medicine, after snatching it away, a figure in a black-bottomed red cloud robe floated down from the sky. The rippling purple eyes were arrogant. Kakuzu, I asked you to carry out Akatsuki's mission. What are you doing here? Kakuzu's heart skipped a beat. It's over. Just make money by being a scalper. He completely forgot about the mission given by the leader. Chapter 102 Agricultural Production Cooperative. As an immortal ninja who has survived from the Senju Hashirama era to this day, the only belief in Kakuzu's heart is money. Everything in this world will betray you. Only money won't. He joined the Akatsuki organization only because the leader promised to hand over the financial management of the organization to himself. For such a mysterious organization, the leader even possesses the legendary fairy eyes. The financial flow of the organization must be a terrifying figure. But after actually joining the organization, Kakuzu found that he had been deceived. A group of rebel ninjas were extremely poor and had no money at all. I was working as a scalper, and before I could make much money, the leader showed up. Chief, I'm carrying out the mission assigned by you. Kakuzu speaks righteously. Then, what is this, Tendo? Pain raised his right hand, and several bottles of liquid floated out of Kakuzu's clothes and flew into his hand. Rippled eyes looked at the vial in his hand. There is a blue and white umbrella printed in the center of the bottle. It's a new liquid medicine produced by the Umbrella Company. It's been very popular recently. I bought some for spare use, Kakuzu explained without blushing or heartbeat. Really? Shiandeo Pain glanced at him. But isn't this too much? The Moment his voice fell, there was a crackling sound of glass, and a lot of glass vials dropped from Kakuzu's body like rain. Each vial is a new type of medicinal liquid, almost filling the ground beneath your feet. At a glance, there were at least dozens of bottles. This sudden scene made Jyodu freeze on the spot. Fortunately, Shiandao Pain on the opposite side had no intention of going into details, and said in deep thought, "What's the current situation in Konoha?" He sent Kakuzu to lurk in the black market of grass country in order to find out information about Konoha. As an undead ninja in the underground black market, Kakuzu is at home in the black market and can maximize the use of the black market's intelligence network. Since Orochimaru defected from the Akatsuki organization and returned to Konoha. Nagato's fear of Konoha increased several times as a member of the Akatsuki organization. Orochimaru knows too much information about Akatsuki. Zero's intelligence leakage was inevitable, and he had to prepare a response in advance. There's no action on Konoha's side for now, but there's just one thing that makes me a little strange. Kakuzu frowned. Konoha seems to be contacting the major grain merchants in the far country. Grain merchant? Why does Konoha contact the grain merchant? Shiandao Pain was slightly surprised. Konoha, a military organization that keeps ninjas in captivity. What does it do to contact grain merchants? Is Konoha village short of food? Even if there is a shortage of food, you can still get it through sales channels. There is no need to go to the trouble of contacting the grain dealer, right? I don't know. Who knows what the Fifth Hokage is thinking? Kakuzu shook his head. The Fifth Hokage Namikaze Mirai was a very strong guy. Even guys like Orochimaru who defected from the organization can be accepted. No matter what this guy does, Kakuzu won't be surprised. After Shiandao Pain digested the information, continue to collect intelligence, and the organization will not treat you badly. After that, his body floated and flew away from here. After confirming that Tendo Pain had left, Kakuzu breathed a sigh of relief. The leader is really elusive. I was just secretly making extra money, but he almost discovered me. The green eyes looked at the potion on the ground with a greedy look. Selling these potions is another source of income. The land of rain. The rainy season lasts for more than 10 months a year. This country is covered by rain all year round. When you raise your head, you can't see a trace of light. Just endless rain and darkness. It seems like God is crying. Pain of heaven stood on a towering tall building, and the rain poured over him, soaking his black-bottomed red cloud robe. Nagato, Zionan's gentle voice sounded from behind. Shiandao Pain's rippling lavender eyes overlooked the country in the rain from this tall building. Zonan, I have a feeling that there will be a huge change in this ninja world soon. Change? Zio. Nan frowned. She didn't understand the meaning of the word in the long doorway. The ninja world is not peaceful. You, me and Yahiko are all people who have experienced the pain of war, so we look forward to the arrival of peace even more. But they don't know the value of peace, and time again, they use war to destroy peace. Zion remained silent. She knew who they were in the long doorway. 5 major countries, especially Konoha, the Fifth Hokage of Konoha village, is a very ambitious person. I have a hunch that it is definitely not a good thing for him to become Hokage. The rippling eyes of Heavenly Deo Pain are far-reaching. All recent events seem to confirm this conclusion. Is it because of Orochimaru's matter? Zion pursed her lips with a complicated expression. Orochimaru's defection was like a thorn in Nagato's heart. He had a high self-esteem and could not accept the defection of Akatsuki members or defection back to the original ninja village. Orochimaru is just a small character with no importance. Shiandao Pain shook his head. What really matters to me is the Fifth Hokage. His existence will bring suffering to this world. Konoha is the biggest obstacle to peace. Konan pursed her lips. Teacher Jiraiya is a ninja of Konoha, and she does not want to go to war with Konoha if necessary. But, just like what Nagato said. Konoha, the largest military organization in the ninja world, is an obstacle to peace. Nagato, no matter what, I will always support you. Konan murmured softly from the beginning to the end. Shiandao Pain did not turn around. His Samsara eyes looked down at the country in the rain without any emotion. The only one who can save this world is God. No matter how Konoha changes, pain will come. Konoha Village. Umbrella Research Center in the breeding greenhouse. Yamato opened his palms to Namikaze Mirai with great joy. Teacher, look, I succeeded. I succeeded. In his palm, several rice seeds were lying quietly, each one larger than an ordinary rice seed. The breeding greenhouse behind them is also filled with heavy golden ears of rice, full of the atmosphere of harvest. Yamato's eyes were full of joy and excitement. Combining the theory provided by Namikaze Mirai, he continued to try using the ability of wood escape, and finally cultivated a new rice seed. Compared with conventional rice, the yield per mu of this specially cultivated rice has increased by at least 40%. Well done, Namikaze. Mirai smiled in admiration. Today is a memorable day. In the future, in the textbooks of the ninja world, they will record your name like this: the father of hybrid rice, Yamato, or Orochimaru. Looked at this scene, his pale golden vertical pupils filled with surprise. Hybrid rice. This kind of thing can actually be done. It's incredible. As a scientific research ninja, he knew very well what kind of sensation this rice seed would cause once it was popularized. Food is the lifeblood of a country. Even ninjas, if you don't eat, you will die. During the war, food was a strategic resource in short supply. Coupled with previous medical breakthroughs, Namikaze Mirai has already held the two lifebloods of the ninja world in his hands. Orochimaru, I plan to summon the grain merchants from the Fire Country. Call the grain merchants? Orochimaru frowned. Future Lord, do you plan to make this result public? This is an agricultural revolution. Konoha is not an agricultural ninja village. It has limited experience in planting. Only by combining it with the grain merchants of the Land of Fire can we obtain the greatest benefits. Namikaze Mirai smiled slightly. I have already thought of the name for the new production model. Agricultural Production Cooperative. Chapter 103. The Key to Change. In your hands. Konoha, why did the Fifth Hokage suddenly invite us? I don't know. We are just grain merchants, not ninjas. It's better to go over and take a look. If you offend him by letting the dove go, the gain will outweigh the loss. Driven by Namikaze Mirai, most of the Far Country grain merchants soon received the news the Fifth Hokage of Konoha invited them to Konoha village to observe the ceremony. And something big has been announced. Most grain merchants expressed doubts about this matter. Konoha is a military organization and is not involved in production activities apart from the need for food supplies during wars and occasionally hiring Konoha ninjas to transport food. They had almost no other interactions with Konoha. What is the major change that the Fifth Hokage mentioned? Despite their doubts, most merchants still decided to set off for Konoha. Judging from the previous news, the Fifth Hokage was a very powerful person. If you offend him over such a trivial matter, you will be in big trouble. That Hokage only needs to find a random hat to put on his head, and everything they have worked hard for over the years can be destroyed in one fell swoop. The 5 great ninja villages are commonly known as the 5 great rogues. These businessmen understand this. Compared with offending the Hokage, losing some profits is something worth accepting. Hokage building. Conference room on the 3rd floor. The grain merchants who had come from afar sat uneasily on their seats, looking at the closed environment around them, and the usher stationed at the exit. Cold sweat broke out on many people's foreheads. Konoha, isn't it going to kill them? He racked his brains and searched through the things he had done in recent years in a panic, but he couldn't find anything to offend Konoha. Recalling Namikaze's illustrious reputation in the future, this small conference room has become like a concentration camp in the eyes of many grain merchants. Everyone, a voice came from the entrance, making the group of grain merchants shiver and subconsciously cast their gaze over what caught his eye was a blonde figure with a faint smile in his royal blue eyes. Fifth generation Hokage. Lord Hokage, we have not offended you, right? Why did you summon us here? Yes, Hokage-sama, if we do something wrong, please forgive me. The Uchiha stationed at the entrance looked at the group of grain merchants who almost cried, and they all looked surprised. What happened to these businessmen? It's not like Naruto would eat them. Everyone, I think you have made a mistake. I came to you because I want to lead you to participate in a revolution. Namikaze Mirai smiled slightly. Changes in agriculture. Changes in agriculture. The businessmen who were still panicking a second ago looked at each other with expressions of confusion and disbelief. What is that? Yamato, let's demonstrate it to them. It's teacher. After hearing Namikaze Mirai's order, Yamato responded and walked to the stand in the center of the conference room. In his hand he held something like a flower pot filled with soil, and in the other hand, he held a seed. After ensuring that everyone in the conference room could see clearly, Yamato stuffed the seeds in his hands into the soil and activated the wood release chakra. The confusion on the faces of the surrounding grain merchants deepened. What is this doing? Soon, the confusion on their faces disappeared, replaced by deep shock and disbelief. The seeds in the pot sprouted quickly and sprung up from the ground like bamboo shoots after the rain, producing heavy ears of rice. The mouths of the surrounding grain merchants opened to an exaggerated degree, and even their pupils were trembling slightly. Mew mew. Escape. Only the legendary wood escape can produce plants so quickly. This humble looking brat actually mastered Sanju Hashirama's blood inheritance limit. After the shock brought by Mudun subsided, these grain merchants suddenly discovered something that shocked them even more. The newly grown ears of rice were actually bigger than any other they had ever seen. The heavy ears of wheat were as plump as freshly steamed buns. Hybrid rice. This is a brand new rice species developed using the ability of wood escape. It combines the excellent genes of two types of rice. Compared with ordinary rice species, the yield is increased by about 40%. 4%. The pupils of many grain merchants dilated. This is a pretty scary number. As practitioners in the grain industry, they know very well what this number means. If what Namikaze said in the future is true, it will have a huge impact on the agriculture of the ninja world. It might actually trigger the agricultural revolution. Lord Hokage, can you tell me how much yield per acre can be achieved by planting this kind of rice? A grain merchant plucked up the courage to ask. A conservative estimate would suggest that the yield per mu can reach 500 kilograms. Hearing this, many grain traders took a breath of cold air again. This is a pretty scary number. Calculated, the improvement has actually exceeded 40%. The sound of rapid breathing appeared in the conference room. These grain merchants looked at the rice ears in Yamato's hands, and there was even a little bloodshot eyes in their eyes. What Yamato holds in his hands is no longer an ear of rice, but the key to a new world. Namikaze Mirai saw this scene, and knew that the foreshadowing was enough. I plan to set up an agricultural production cooperative in the Land of Fire. Konoha and you will jointly participate in rice planting. Konoha will be responsible for all safety issues encountered during the production process, and the results of production will be shared by everyone. The conference room suddenly became quiet. Some grain merchants were hesitant, some had fiery eyes, and many were still thinking. Cooperating with Konoha is a challenge that presents both risks and opportunities. After the emergence of hybrid rice, the food industry of the ninja world will definitely suffer a huge impact. Agricultural changes are coming. If we cannot seize the wind of change, we will only be run over by the wheel of change and become a failed product. Cooperation. Cooperation is necessary. With such brand new rice seeds and technology, are you still worried that the food will not be sold? If hybrid rice can be promoted, it will benefit many people in the ninja world who are hungry. Inventing such a miracle rice seed. Hokage-sama, are you a god who came down to earth to save the ninja world? Namikaze Mirai's face remained normal, looking at this scene calmly. Yamato in the stands was filled with a proud smile. It turns out that this is the true purpose of wood release. At this moment, his heart was filled with gratitude for Namikaze's future. Sarutobi Hiruzen would only teach him to develop the lethality of wood release, but Namikaze Mirai went straight to the source and found the most suitable direction for wood release. Rice seeds improved by Mutant will save many lives perhaps. The Senju Hashirama-sama who calmed down the troubled times also expected this. There was a joyful atmosphere in the conference room. Only a few grain merchants looked extremely ugly, as if they had swallowed a toad alive. Behind them. It's a famous name. Chapter 104 Yi Kang. You will regret it. Chiio, I'm the Kazakage. In the ninja world, an explosive news spread like wildfire, spreading throughout the ninja world in a very short time. Have you heard that Konoha has developed a brand new rice species? It seems to be called hybrid rice. Yes, I heard that the yield per mu has reached an astonishing 500 kilograms. What a terrifying improvement. I no longer have to worry about not having enough to eat. What else did Konoha come up with? The sky has changed. It's really going to change. Those grain merchants who were invited by Konoha but did not choose to go because of fear felt regretful at this moment. It was as if the key to a revolution had suddenly slipped away from my eyes. Fire Nation. Damning mansion. Lord Daimyo. Lord Daimyo. Something bad has happened. Several servants ran to the damning mansion in a panic, with cold sweat on their foreheads. Why are you so panicked? The Daimyo who was taking a rest fanned his folding fan, looking like he was enjoying himself leisurely. Lord Daimyo, what kind of cooperation does Konoha want? Isn't it absurd to cooperate with businessmen in production? The food industry of the Fire Country has always been in charge of you, Daimyo. Now, Konoha wants to touch these interests. Daimyo-sama, you can't just watch Konoha succeed. The reporting servant burst into tears, wanting to portray Konoha as a bastard who did all kinds of evil. Many nobles, as well as the grain merchants behind the nobles, have expressed dissatisfaction with Konoha's actions. Most of the food industry in the Fire Country is controlled by nobles like them. Now that Namikaze Mirai has intervened with some kind of hybrid rice, you, a ninja village, have intervened in the grain industry. Is this going to be the opposite? Okay, I understand. I will discuss this matter with Konoha. The Daimyo flapped his folding fan impatiently. The expressions on the faces of the servants who reported the report suddenly froze. Lord Daimyo, you must take this matter seriously. No, I told you I would go find the Hokage, but are you the Daimyo, or am I the Daimyo? Several servants shuddered and immediately retreated. They walked outside the damning mansion and whispered, the Daimyo-sama doesn't seem to be very concerned about this matter. Hush. He is a famous person. Those of us who are servants must not talk nonsense. Believe me. Lord Daimyo. In the Daimyo's mansion, behind the Daimyo who was fanning his folding fan, a figure emerged from the shadows. The three Magatama Sharinganing Kakashi's left eye was as red as blood, looking at the direction in which the servants were leaving. His eyes are deep, controlling. A Daimyo through illusion is not a long-term thing after all, so you have to plan ahead. After becoming the Guardian 12 ninja, Kakashi controlled the Daimyo to eliminate dissidents and nip many threats in the cradle. Even so, some of the Daimyo's unusual behavior still aroused suspicion among some people. Kakashi didn't know how long this kind of life could last. No. In other words, this is also in the calculations of future adults, right? Wait until the name is completely useless. Perhaps the entire Fire Nation will undergo earth-shaking changes. Hybrid rice, sand, hidden village. In the Kazakage room, the 5th generation Kazakage Hagura showed surprise after hearing the information from his subordinates. Yes, Master Kazakage, it is said that grain merchants from all over the Fire Country are rushing to Konoha like crazy, trying to get the qualifications to participate in this change. Not only the country of fire, but also grain merchants from neighboring countries such as the country of Sichuan, the country of grass, and the country of stone also flocked over. The Anbu who reported it narrated. Even he was shocked by Konoha's operation. This seems to be the first time in history that Ninja Village has participated in agricultural production. Is that so? As expected of that man, he is amazing. There was deep admiration in Yi Kang's beautiful eyes. Namikaze Mirai will always easily do things that others cannot. The Enbu who reported it had cold sweat on his forehead. Lord Kazakage, please be careful with your words. You are the Kazakage of our Sunagakure village. How can you describe Konoha's Hokage in such a tone? The two villages are obviously hostile, right? And Boo could only curse in his heart at such words. Don't dare to say it. If there is nothing else, Master Kazekage, I will leave first. I can't stand Yikang's nymphomaniac look. The Anbu who reported it said goodbye and disappeared with a whoosh. Yikang in the Fengiying room rubbed his chin, lost in thought. The Kingdom of Wind is almost all dry desert. Although there are oases, they only occupy a very small part of the area. It cannot be farmed at all. This has led to the fact that Sand Hidden Village has always been the village with the most food shortage among the 5 major villages. This is why every time there is a war, Sand Hidden Village can't wait to rush to the Land of Fire to search for it. Compared with the poor Wind Country, the Fire Country is too rich. The fertile land and humid climate are the largest food producing areas in the shinobi world. Coupled with Namikaze's future momentum, the Fire Country's food advantage may reach an unprecedented height. If it were the Ondame Kazekage Rasa, he should be thinking about how to bite a piece of meat from Konoha at this moment. But she is not Rasa. Rasa has gone crazy after losing to Namikaze Mirai. She, Yakira, is very sober. Just when she was thinking about the possibility of cooperating with Konoha, the door to the Kazekage room was suddenly pushed open. Kang, have you heard about hybrid rice? Shadowsook. Chiyo rushed in angrily. I already know. This may be an opportunity if we cooperate with Namikaze in the future. Seeing Yikang's eagerness to try, Chiyo was furious. Yakira, don't forget your identity. You are Kazekage, the 5th Kazekage of Sunagakure village, who gave the last Kazekage Luosha his current appearance. Originally, Hayakura was not qualified to become the 5th generation Kazekage. But the previous Kazekage Rasa was defeated embarrassingly by fellow magnet ninja Namikaze Mirai in 3 battles, and became a laughingstock in the ninja world. It can be said that Namikaze Mirai stepped on Rasa's body and gained the reputation of Blue Flash. Alyosha was overwhelmed by this humiliation and gradually went crazy after the war, making her unable to fulfill her duties as a Kazekage. Helpless, Chiyo could only choose another blood successor ninja in the village, Hayakura, to succeed the 5th Kazekage. It was the only option at the time. If a new Kazekage is not selected as soon as possible, the people of Sunagakure village will be in panic, and they may start civil strife themselves before other ninja villages come over. Chiyo originally thought that Yikang would be grateful to her when she became the Kazekage. Unexpectedly, after becoming Fengiying, Yikang revealed his amazing ambition. Taking advantage of Alyosha's madness and loss of power, he purged hostile forces and squeezed out dissenters. Through a series of bloody operations, he gradually took control of the entire Sand Hidden village. Even Chiyo, who originally recommended her to be the puppet Kazekage, was gradually ignored by her every time he thought about it. Chiyo felt resentful. Yakura, how much pain did Namikaze Mirai bring to Sunagakure village in the 3rd war? You actually want to cooperate with him? Do you still have a village in your eyes? Facing Chiyo's harsh criticism, Yikang smiled instead of getting angry. Chiyo-sama, times have changed. If you continue to look at the ninja world with the same old eyes, you will only be eliminated by the times. The most beneficial choice for Sunagakure village now is to cooperate with Konoha. Sunagakure village is short of food, and Konoha is most in need of food. Which one is more important, the countless hungry villagers in Sunagakure village, or you, Chiyo-sama? Is the hatred in your eyes important? Chiyo knew that she couldn't defeat Yikang, so she could only yell angrily out of habit. Yikang, you will regret it. Chiyo, I'm the Kazekage. Boom. The door to the Wind Shadow room was slammed shut. Chapter 105 Minister of Agriculture Yamato. Brand new Konoha 7. 4th update. Teacher, the project of the agricultural production cooperative is very successful. 10 new farms have been opened in the Fire Country as experimental fields for hybrid rice. There are more and more grain merchants who want to participate in rural cooperatives. Recently, many grain merchants from other countries have flocked to Konoha, wanting a piece of the pie. We will only select those with the best qualifications according to your requirements. In Konoha, the Hokage's room, Yamato is holding the latest information records and gurgling reports. Namikaze Mirai listened to everything one by one. Nod in praise. Sure. enough. I did nothing wrong in accepting you as my disciple, Yamato was shy at being praised and scratched his head, feeling a little embarrassed. Teacher, many people in the village recently said that I'm the second Senju Hashirama. I feel that this statement is too much. How can I compare with that ninja god? Namikaze Mirai smiled slightly. The first Hokage used wood release to calm the troubled times. You used wood release to feed countless hungry people in the ninja world. Your achievements are no worse than Senju Hashirama. The anxiety in Yamato's heart gradually calmed down. Since the teacher said so, maybe I really have such value. Namikaze Mirai saw Yamato's performance and smiled without saying a word. After all, he is a teenager, and it is normal to feel uncomfortable and uncomfortable after accepting such a great honor all of a sudden. Remember, don't be disturbed by external things. Those who praise you because of your achievements will also criticize you because you can't do new achievements at any time. You must keep your heart. Namikaze Mirai issued a serious reminder. Yes, I understand, teacher. Yamato nodded. In the 10 hybrid rice experimental fields, did any problems occur during planting? Namikaze Mirai crossed his fingers with his hands and put them against his chin. As for the problem, there is an unexpected problem. Yamato frowned. Pest, perhaps. Because the hybrid rice screening environment is a greenhouse, there is almost no need to worry about insect infestation. Once planted in a natural environment, insect pests will become a headache. Namikaze Mirai nodded. This is indeed a problem. Greenhouse environment and natural environment are two completely different ecological environments. Greenhouses can artificially control humidity, temperature, and soil, but insect pests are difficult to accurately simulate. If we go back now to screen for pest-resistant hybrid varieties, it will be too late. Right now, not only the Land of Fire, but also the entire ninja world is eyeing Konoha's agricultural production cooperative. At this critical juncture, we cannot give in. Let the Aburame clan come on. Namikaze Mirai said in a deep voice. Yamato opened his eyes wide in surprise. Aburame clan. Well, the Aburame clan is the clan that understands bugs best in Konoha. The parasitic bugs cultivated using their bodies as nests are like natural enemies to other bugs. The situation is urgent now, and there is no time to reselect pest-resistant varieties for hybridization. For the time being, we use ninjas from the Aburame clan to exterminate pests, to achieve a pest-free environment like a greenhouse. Listening to Namikaze Mirai's narration, Yamato's eyes gradually widened. It seems like it really works. The parasites of the Aburame clan are absolutely crushing against pests. Besides, I think the Aburame clan would be happy to do this job. Namikaze Mirai's blue eyes showed a smile. The Aburame clan can be called the socially fearful clan in Konoha. That airtight body is the best proof. Pest controller. No human contact required. Lying in the waves of golden wheat from the harvest. Just release a few parasites to guard against the invasion of pests. This kind of job should be quite to their liking. A better idea suddenly came to Namikaze Mirai's mind. Look at Yamato. Yamato, I plan to establish a brand new Ministry of Agriculture, with you as the Minister. Department of Agriculture. Yamato looked at him in surprise. Yes. Namikaze Mirai pondered. The Ministry of Agriculture is the 7th department of Konoha in addition to the Anbu, Medical Department, Intelligence Department, Barrier Department, Security Department, etc. Especially responsible for agricultural production projects. Yamato, you are the first minister, and Shibuya Aburame is the deputy minister. In addition, we will also recruit ninjas who are good at earth and water escape. After learning, they will be put in as production type ninjas. In production activities, Ministry of Agriculture, Konoha Part 7. Production Ninja. Yamato was confused by this series of new names. These things have never been heard in the history of Konoha before, but now, there are so many of them. I understand, teacher. Yamato hesitated in response. As Minister of Agriculture, he suddenly felt a heavy burden on himself. Well, you go and rest. I'll explain to Aburame Ziwi. Yamato Left point. Namikaze Mirai still maintained a thoughtful look point. Now that a new Department of Agriculture has been created, it would be better to take advantage of the situation and adjust the remaining ones as well. Point. The original 6 parts of Konoha include the roots, but the roots have been banned by him, and Danzo has been reduced to scum by him. Point. The roots have completely withdrawn from the stage of history. Point. Since the establishment of the security department by the second Hokage, Uchiha has been in charge. Point. From Namikaze Mirai's perspective, putting Uchiha in charge of the security department is not a good thing. Point. Uchiha, who is arrogant by nature, takes on responsibilities similar to that of the urban management team, which will only make the village's impression of the Uchiha clan worse. Point. It is even more difficult to integrate into the village. Point. Maybe the Nidaime had this plan in mind when he established the security department. Point. Namikaze Mirai narrowed his eyes slightly. Point. Now he is the Hokage. Point. It's time to replace the ninja in charge of the security department. Let Hinata be in charge of the security department. With Byakugan and firearms, he will be able to manage the security of the village well. Both belong to 2 major Aijutsu families. Although Hinata is equally arrogant, he is much easier to get along with than Uchiha. Point. Bayan has a natural advantage in the face of security work. When paired with firearms, it can achieve the effect of self-confidence. Point. After Namikaze Mirai thought about it, he confirmed the new ninja in charge of the security department. As for the Uchiha clan, we can put them in charge of the newly established branch. A smile appeared in his blue eyes. This one was something he had conceived for a long time and had always wanted to set up. Point. After making up his mind, Namikaze Mirai immediately sent Anbu to invite Uchiha Fugaku. Point. 10 minutes later, Uchiha Fugaku came to the Hokage room in confusion. Point. Before he could remember to speak, he heard Namikaze Mirai ponder. Fugaku, I intend to revoke the duties of the Uchiha security department. As soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Fugaku's face turned pale. Point. The security department is the only power Uchiha has at the top. Point. Is Namikaze Mirai going to kill the donkey? In a state of shock, I heard Namikaze Mirai continue to speak. Don't worry, I've created a new department that's more suitable for the Uchiha clan. What department? Uchiha Fugaku spoke cautiously. Peacekeeping department. Department for maintaining peace in the ninja world. To put it simply, someone is trying to disrupt the peace of the ninja world, and you are responsible. Beat him. 4 updates today. From now on, I will try my best to update 4 times a day. Chapter 106. Maintaining peace in the ninja world. Uchiha is obligated. Peacekeeping department. To maintain peace in the ninja world. Uchiha Fugaku was confused by Namikaze Mirai's series of remarks. He stood there in a daze. Point. Although I can't understand it. Point. But it looks very high-end. Fugaku, although the peacekeeping department is a newly established department, its status is very high. Many important resources of Konoha will be tilted towards the peacekeeping department. Namikaze Mirai smiled. Point. Peacekeeping force. Point. The requirements for force and deterrence are high. Point. In Konoha, only Uchiha meets this condition. Just imagine, there are terrorists in the land of fire with evil intentions. Just when they are about to succeed, a group of pink-eyed men wearing peacekeeping department uniforms fall from the sky and rush towards them like crazy. Point. Who can withstand this? Peacekeeping. Peacekeeping. If you don't cooperate, I'll protect you. This is the true meaning of peacekeeping troops. Is this so? After listening to Namikaze Mirai's narration, Uchiha Fugaku's pale face gradually recovered. Point. The stone hanging in my heart fell down. Point. As the leader of the Uchiha clan, Fugaku is not very interested in peace in the shinobi world. Point. But he also knew the value of this move to the Uchiha. Point. When the Uchiha tribesmen were in charge of the security department, they often clashed with the villagers. The rebellious tribesmen would like to raise their nostrils to the sky every time they enforce the law. Point. As time went by, the reputation in the village worsened. Point. During the third Hokage period, the conflict between Uchiha and the village intensified, which was largely due to this reason. Point. The peacekeeping force allows many energetic Uchihas in the clan to find a channel to vent their anger. Maintaining peace in the ninja world sounds much more advanced than the security department. Point. Uchiha Fugaku had a smile in his eyes. It is estimated that many members of the clan will tremble with excitement after hearing the words peacekeeping force. Right, and Uchiha Fugaku's guess was good point when the news that Namikaze established a peacekeeping department in the future reached the Uchiha clan point after the Uchiha tribesmen were briefly surprised. Deep excitement and trembling immediately arose in their hearts. Peacekeeping department. Maintaining world peace. That's great. This is Uchiha's bounden duty. What? A bullshit security department. I've done enough for a long time. I want to join the peacekeeping force. Keep peace in the ninja world. It is Uchiha's duty to do so. The entire Uchiha clan set off a huge wave. Countless Uchiha looked excited and wanted to join the peacekeeping force. The Department of Peacekeeping Operations. A department that maintains world peace. Sounds much more noble than the bullshit security department. This is a job I, Uchiha, should do. Why are you so happy all of a sudden? Uchiha Shisu, a Dove faction, saw the surging expressions of the usually gentle clan members around him. Surprise couldn't help but arise in my heart. Although there are no such divisions as Doves and Hawks in Uchiha now, he knows very well the character of these people who live together day and night. It doesn't look like he would be so excited. Brother Shisu, don't you know? The Fifth Hokage has newly established a peacekeeping department. The department that maintains peace in the ninja world is specifically responsible for us Uchiha, he explained like a show off to a clan member who was close to Shisu. Peacekeeping department to maintain peace in the ninja world. Shisu suddenly stood there stunned, as if he had been hit by a bullet. PC sour feeling suddenly arose in the nose. These were the two words he had always hoped for. Even at the most intense moment of conflict between his family and the village, he had always naively believed that the day peace would come. Goddamn Hokage. Are you really the one who hopes for peace? Shisu recalled the days when Namikaze Mirai had just arrived to Uchiha. At that time, it was difficult for him to agree with Namikaze Mirai's philosophy. How can peace achieved by force last? And now, Namikaze Mirai has told him with the results that Konoha has not only ushered in a new peace. This peace will also be passed on to the ninja world in the same way. The Department of Peacekeeping Operations is such a department. After all, am I still wrong? Complex emotions arose in Zishu's heart. Looking back at my past, I realized that I was the one who had always been naive and paranoid. When his expression was complicated, a voice suddenly sounded in his ears. Shisu, the Hokage wants to see you. Shisu raised his head and saw an Anbu wearing a mask. Hokage building. Hokage room. Hokage-sama, are you looking for me? Shisu looked at the blonde figure on the Hokage's table with anxiety. He didn't know Namikaze's intention to find him in the future. Shisu, I think you should know about the peacekeeping department. Namikaze Mirai crossed his hands and put his chin on his hands, looking at Shisu opposite with his blue eyes with a faint smile. Well, I've heard about it. It's a pretty groundbreaking idea. To be honest, I didn't expect you to take peace so seriously and leave this department to Uchiha. Uchiha. Shisu anxiously described his views on the peacekeeping department. As soon as he finished speaking, a chuckle sounded in his ears. Then, how about I leave it to you to be the Minister of Peacekeeping Operations? What? Uchiha. Shisu was stunned on the spot, standing blankly. My mind went blank, wondering if I heard it wrong. I said, the Minister of Peacekeeping Operations will be left to you. Namikaze Mirai repeated it with a smile. I'll be the Minister of Peacekeeping Operations. The order of Shisu's words began to become unclear, as if being hit by a huge pie. The whole person was in a trance and has not yet recovered. Why don't you want to? No, I just. Uchiha Shisu swallowed. I just don't understand why you would give me such an important responsibility. Because you are a peace-loving Uchiha. Your hope for peace is a very important thing to the peacekeeping department. I think it is a correct decision to hand over the peacekeeping department to you. As the Minister of Peacekeeping, you will not just watch the land of fire and even the ninja world be filled with chaos and injustice. Cut down the chaos and bring order to the shinobi world. This is the responsibility of the peacekeeping department, and it will also be your responsibility. Namikaze Mirai looked into Shisu's eyes. Shisu, tell me, can you do it? In Uchiha Shisu's dark eyes. There seemed to be a ball of fire burning fiercely. He seemed to have found the meaning of his birth. So is it for this duty that I awakened these eyes, in order to maintain the peace of the ninja world, in order to bring order to the ninja world. Even if the power of the other gods is exhausted, they must spend their whole life to implement this belief. Hokage-sama. Thank you. I have never felt so good at this moment. I seem to have found the meaning of life, which is the only lighthouse in the dark sea. It is my duty, Uchiha Shisu, to maintain the peace of the ninja world. Chapter 107. They all have guns. What kind of clan are you still afraid of? The reform of the 7 new Konoha parts was quickly put on the agenda. The Uchiha Peacekeeper was the easiest one to complete. On the streets of Konoha, many Uchiha people can be seen showing off with their heads held high. Maintaining peace in the ninja world is so cool. The villagers looked at Uchiha like this with smiles on their faces. The change of personnel in the security department is naturally a good thing for them. Not having to face the law enforcement of the Uchiha tribe in my nostrils every day. I felt a lot happier. The establishment of the Ministry of Agriculture was also quite smooth. After being briefly surprised, the Aburame clan quickly accepted this new job. As members of the Konoha clan, they are sincerely satisfied with this kind of work, where they don't have to deal with people. Rice pest control. What a perfect job. The only problem was with the security department. You are saying that the elders of the Zan family do not approve of Hinata taking over the position of the security department in the Hokage Tower. Namikaze Mirai gradually frowned as he listened to Hinata's narration. Yes, Hinata had a huge headache. I thought that Hinata's taking over of the security department would allow the Hyuga clan to gain more rights among the top management. Unexpectedly, Namikaze Mirai's order had just been issued. It was resisted by the clan elders. The reason is, as a noble Hyuga clan, how could he engage in this type of security work, or should he succeed Uchiha? Due to protests from clan elders, the establishment of a new security department was repeatedly blocked. There is no good solution for Hinata and Hizu. The Hyuga clan is a clan with very strict rules and systems. Even as the clan leader, he could not disobey many elders and forcefully push forward this initiative. I already understand the matter. Namikaze Mirai nodded. How do you plan to deal with the future? Hinata asked anxiously. He knew Namikaze Mirai's character well. The man in front of me is by no means an easy person to talk to. Danzo was beaten to death by his own hands, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was placed under house arrest and lost all his rights. What's wrong with those clan elders? Why do you have to fight on this kind of thing? Will it end well if you go against Namikaze's future? Since you can't reach an agreement, let me do it. Namikaze Mirai is pretty calm. The land of the Hyuga clan. In the Zan family's mansion. A group of clan elders were gathering together and sitting cross-legged onto Anfu. You guys said that if we reject Hinata's plan to take over the security department, will the Hokage be displeased? It's normal to be unhappy, but so what? Hinata is the oldest ninja clan in Konoha, and the rules cannot be changed. Hinata serves as the security department. Absurd. Over the years, the Hyuga clan has never maintained peace and order in the village. Uchiha gave up the business, and Hinata took over. When the news spreads, where will Hinata's face and the face of their clan go? How should we deal with it? Hokage, I heard that this 5th generation is quite a domineering person. This is Hinata's family matter. Even the 3rd generation has no right to interfere in the affairs of the Hyuga clan. Hinata Aoki pondered. He is the person with the highest status among the elders of the clan. Hearing his words, many elders around him nodded. Even the Sandaime Sarutobi Hiruzen, when it comes to matters within the Hyuga clan, uses political means of interest exchange to find a balance acceptable to both parties. This newly appointed 5th generation Hokage can't surpass it. Just as they were discussing, they heard a bang. The door to the mansion was violently pushed open. The clan elder turned his head in shock, and when he saw the blonde figure, his body trembled unnaturally. I heard that you are not very satisfied with my actions. Although Namikaze Mirai was smiling, his smile revealed a chill that made the clan elders tremble. No, we are satisfied, as expected of you, Hokage-sama. You can come up with such a groundbreaking idea. Yes. Putting Hinata in charge of the security department is a genius idea. Hearing The frightened compliments from the clan elders around him. There was a hint of dryness at the corner of Hinata Aoka's mouth. He knew that this game against the Hokage had already failed before it even started. Since you all have no objections, then this matter is settled. In addition, I plan to provide the security department with some weapons. You should have no objections, right? No. At this moment, these clan elders just want to get rid of Namikaze Mirai as soon as possible. The head points are the same as a pillar driver. A sensible reply. Namikaze Mirai left. From the time he came into the time he left, in less than a minute, these clan elders found that their backs were soaked with sweat, their hands and feet were cold, and they collapsed on the ground as if exhausted. It was so scary, I almost thought I was going to die. Is this the majesty of the god Aim? In the training ground, a group of Hyuga branch families gathered around, looking at the metal truth placed in the middle, their pure white eyes full of surprise. What's this gun? Hinata and Hisashi made loud noises a long time ago. Kumogakure village put pressure on Hinata on the grounds of the death of the envoy, but it was Namikaze Mirai who came forward to save him. He was filled with gratitude towards Namikaze Mirai. Namikaze Mirai appointed him to be responsible for the distribution of firearms this time. Gun. The surrounding Hyuga family members looked at each other in confusion. What is a gun? The closed Hyuga clan has never spread anything related to guns. Can such a small metal pipe really be used as a weapon? For a moment, suspicion spread. Hinata Hisashi picked up a large metal sniper, supported the butt of the gun with his shoulders, and earthworm-like veins suddenly swelled around his eye sockets in the grey world. The target position 1 kilometer away was clearly visible. Boom. Hinata Hisashi pulled the trigger in the shocked gazes of many surrounding families. A blue light flashed from the muzzle of the gun. At the target position 1 kilometer away, a hole suddenly appeared in the center. It's so awesome. You have this thing. Why do you need to learn soft boxing? So, this is the true purpose of the Byakugan. The eyes of the Hinata family members who were watching were trembling with excitement, and their hearts were filled with strong shock. A few kilometers away, I rolled my eyes and started sniping. Super long range strike plus full picture perspective. Is it much easier to use than soft boxing? By the way, the caged bird curse seal has an effective range, right? I don't know which branch of the family spoke first. The air in the entire training ground instantly became cold. An eerie silence spread among them. Hinata Hisashi noticed the change in the surrounding atmosphere, put the sniper back in his hand, turned his head, and scanned the surrounding areas with a solemn gaze. Don't talk about this kind of thing again. Such remarks are too dangerous. There are two ways to trigger the caged bird curse seal. One is when the Byakugan is taken away, the seal will activate automatically, destroying the eyeballs and optic nerves. The second is for the Zan family to punish the split family through fingerprints, or directly kill them. As a clan member, I really enjoy the pleasure of torturing the separated family, just like torturing a rat cub. The surrounding Hyuga branch families have all been tortured to a greater or lesser extent, or have witnessed their clan members being tortured. If we had this kind of weapon, would we be able to activate the caged bird before the Zan family had time? In an instant, many branches looked at the firearms with a fiery light in their eyes. Hinata Hisashi watched this scene silently. Once this thought arises, it is impossible to disappear as a member of the branch family. He also understands the desire of this group of people for freedom. Namikaze Mirai will spread the flames of revolution with his own hands. Chapter 108. Pain wants to carry rice. Things are not going well in the land of rain. The hybrid rice developed in Konoha triggered a revolution in the food industry. This was originally a good thing. But the problem is that too many grain merchants have poured into the fire country, wanting to get a share of this agricultural revolution. The influx of grain merchants into the fire nation will lead to the loss of grain merchants in other countries. The original grain industry has been stagnated, and industries related to grain transportation have also slowed down greatly. The country of rain is unable to grow rice due to constant rain, and almost all food is imported. Now that grain merchants have flocked to the fire country, who else can afford to export grain to them? Food prices in the country of rain once skyrocketed, reaching a terrifying level. The increase in prices has made some businessmen see business opportunities. The quantity of rice circulating on the market began to be controlled, making rice further scarce and the price increasing again. Due to various manipulations, the rice market in the country of rain almost collapsed. Being able to eat a bowl of hot rice has become a luxury for many citizens of the rain country at the bottom. Fights over rice, which even turn into bloodshed, have become increasingly common. It's not people eating rice, it's rice eating people. Top of tall building. Hyundai Pain, wearing a black and red cloud robe, was watching the city in the rain. Chaos, blood, crime are rising from this country. Conan, do you see it? This is a disaster brought by Konoha. Zion stood silent behind him. The food revolution triggered by Konoha is having a huge impact on the original agricultural model. The country of rain is the country that suffered the most during the impact. In this country that has been at war for many years and relies on imports for all its food, the domestic rice market is too fragile. It's so fragile that it can't bear this kind of impact. Nagato, what are you going to do? Konoha needs a trial. The rippling purple reincarnation eyes of heavenly Deo pain are empty of everything. Only by judging Konoha can Konoha feel the same pain. Only then can the world understand the pain of the rain country. Only when you have experienced pain will you appreciate the difficulty of peace more. Nagato, Konoha is very strong now. If you are not prepared to act rashly, Conan is worried about Nagato's choice. The fifth Hokage of Konoha was a very powerful ninja. It is said that under his reforms, Konoha's strength has improved a lot. She didn't want Nagato to be in danger because of this matter. Don't worry, Conan. Now is not the time to attack Konoha. Nagato seemed to have guessed her concerns and spoke in a soft voice. Then, you plan to. Confusion appeared in Conan's eyes. Experimental field. Heavenly pain overlooks the country in the rain. Konoha has developed 10 experimental fields for growing new types of rice in the land of fire. My goal is their experimental field. Conan mused. It seemed that he had heard about this, and Konoha's experimental field was about to have a good harvest. Countless grain merchants in the ninja world are paying attention there, destroying the experimental fields and transporting the rice back to the land of rain can prove the power of gods to the ninja world, and it is also a trial for Konoha. Hyundai Pain's rippling purple eyes were arrogant. Seems to have been seen. The day of judgment is coming. Northern Fire Nation. No 3 hybrid rice experimental field. A grand ribbon cutting ceremony is underway. Reporters from major TV stations carried cameras with excited expressions, focusing on the golden waves of heavy rice ears. The viewers in front of the TV, the citizens of the fire country, have you seen it? This is a scene worthy of being recorded in history. Look. What a heavy ear of rice. I swear, I have never seen such a full ear of rice in my life. Hybrid rice. This is a hybrid rice developed by Konoha. The content reported by reporters is presented on televisions in thousands of households through live broadcast. The child sat next to his parents with a stool and watched the pictures on the TV excitedly. The old man looked at the waves of wheat that he had never seen before and exclaimed in amazement. Uchiha Clanland. Sasuke sat on Itachi's lap and excitedly pointed at the familiar figure on the TV. Nissan, look, it's brother Yamato. Yamato, on the TV, is standing on the stand set up in front of experimental field number 3, explaining the advantages of hybrid rice as Konoha's Minister of Agriculture and the father of hybrid rice. He spoke with a confident expression, and there seemed to be light in his eyes. Itachi looked at this scene with confusion. What, Nissan, aren't you happy? Sasuke, who was sitting on Itachi's lap, was a little surprised. My brother's expression didn't seem very happy. No, of course I'm happy. Itachi smiled and ruffled Sasuke's hair. Of course he was happy with Yamato's achievements. What a great initiative this is. Yamato, who is similar to him in age, has already achieved what countless people cannot achieve in their lifetime. But despite being happy, Itachi couldn't help but have complicated emotions. The same future disciple of Namikaze, even he pales in comparison to the current Yamato. Itachi's heart was full of unwillingness. He was so arrogant that he could not allow himself to be defeated by Yamato just like that. In this case, how to talk to Sasuke. Just when Itachi was silent, Sasuke on his lap suddenly exclaimed, Nissan, look, there's a weirdo flying down from the sky. Whack. Itachi raised his head. I saw several figures in black and red cloud robes descending slowly above the golden waves of experimental field number 3. This is Itachi's. Pupils trembled. At the same time. Experimental field number 3. The reporter who was broadcasting live was shocked by the scene in front of him. The cameras on his shoulders were all focused on the 6 figures falling from the sky. Yamato, who was giving a passionate speech, had to stop and looked at them with surprised eyes. 6 pain fell neatly from the sky and landed in front of the wheat waves in experimental field number 3. Ripple like purple eyes glanced at the nervous people around him without emotion. Damn it. Who are you? The ninja in charge of security stepped forward to question. Do you know that there are direct reports across the country right now? Before he finished speaking, his eyes were filled with fear, his body was floating uncontrollably, and his throat seemed to be strangled with great force, making him unable to make any sound at all. Hyundai Pain didn't even move. The ninja was thrown dozens of meters away in panic and was hit hard, leaving his flesh and blood. Run away, killed. A moment, panic, and confusion broke out from the surrounding crowd, and the crowd fled in all directions. In panic, a stampede even occurred. Several reporters carrying cameras were so frightened that their legs trembled and the air around them seemed to freeze, making them freeze in place. Hyundai Pain slowly approached. The upper body appears in the camera frame. Live Television broadcast his next words to millions of households. We are pen. How many floors does a bag of rice have to resist? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Namikaze Mirai vs Tendo Pain. Pen. What is that? The audience in front of the TV felt creepy and uncomfortable when they saw the sudden appearance of Hyundai Pain. Especially those rippling lavender eyes, even through the TV screen, made them feel a breathless oppression. It seemed like he was being targeted by something extremely terrifying. Listen. What is Pain? At the Uchiha Chief's residence, Sasuke turned to look at Itachi in surprise. Itachi did not directly answer Sasuke's question. His pupils were trembling slightly. Cold sweat was already oozing out from my back. Hokage room. The door was pushed open violently. Future Kun. Have you seen the live broadcast? Orochimaru's pale gold vertical pupils showed a hint of shock. Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki organization, is attacking experimental field number 3. When he saw Namikaze Mirai on the Hokage's throne, his expression froze instantly. I saw Namikaze Mirai with his hands crossed against his chin, staring at Pain on the screen in front of him. It's intense excitement and trembling. It seems that I have discovered some extremely interesting prey. Orochimaru had never seen Namikaze Mirai like this before. He froze in place for a moment, and his prepared words were stuck in his throat. Just when he was at a loss, Namikaze Mirai's excited voice reached his ears. Is this the Samsara? What an interesting collection. See these eyes for yourself. Namikaze Mirai's interest has risen to the extreme. He wanted to dig out these eyes with his own hands. Orochimaru, I will leave the village to you for the time being. I want to go out. Namikaze Mirai stood up and twisted his neck to make a clicking sound, like a rusty gear turning. Orochimaru wanted to give a few reminders. He had fought against Hyundai Pain and knew the opponent's strength well. But seeing Namikaze Mirai's excited look, he just swallowed his words. I understand, Future Kun. Boom. The moment he finished speaking, Namikaze Mirai crashed through the window of the Hokage room, and the fragments scattered, turning into blue points of light and disappearing. Orochimaru looked at the direction he left. He swallowed silently. He suddenly felt a sense of absurdity. You clearly know that Pain, who has the eyes of a fairy, is ridiculously strong, but why can't you help but pray for him? Fire Nation. Experimental field base number 3. Emotions of panic, and fear arose from this location, and people could be seen fleeing everywhere. Children fell down in the chaos and could only cry helplessly. Hyundai Pain stood in the center, enjoying this rare chaos. Damn it. Who are you? Why did you destroy the ribbon cutting ceremony of the experimental field? In Yamato's eyes, the anger was burning like substance. The hybrid rice grown by myself. An experimental field, where countless efforts have been made. All were destroyed by the man in front of me. Got. Konoha's guilt has attracted the attention of the gods. We are here to judge Konoha. Shyandao. Pain's rippling purple eyes were arrogant. God. Judge Konoha. The pent-up anger in Yamato's heart deepened. If you are really gods, you should know how many people who are hungry can benefit from hybrid rice. But you want to destroy it all. What kind of god are you doing this kind of behavior? The anger in his heart rose to the extreme. Yamato rushed towards Shyandao Pain while roaring. He stretched out a sharp wooden thorn from his right palm and aimed at Shyandao Pain. The next second, the wooden thorn solidified in midair. It was only a few dozen centimeters away from the heavenly path Pain's Samsurai, but he couldn't move forward an inch no matter what. Yamato looked shocked. Shyandao Pain's lips opened slightly. Shinra. Tenseng. Boom. The terrifying repulsion suddenly broke out, and the wooden thorns that were frozen in the air were broken every inch. The air in front of Shyandao Pain turned into an arc impact, and Yamato's expression suddenly changed. There was no time to take any action, and the terrifying repulsive force had already struck. His body was like a kite with its string cut off, drawing a parabola in the air, and falling heavily to the ground. Tendo Pain glanced at Yamato, who didn't know whether he was alive or dead, with his peripheral vision, then turned his head and looked at the golden wheat waves. Lift your right palm, Shinra. Tenseng. Boom. The wheat waves were emptied by the terrifying repulsion, and the field in front of Shyandao Pain became a vacuum zone, and golden rice ears fell from the sky like rain. All things are attracted by heaven. The wheat ears that were bounced away by the repulsive force gathered again under the influence of gravity. Soon, a pile of towering rice ears appeared in front of Shyandao Pain. The other realms, including the animal realm, the human realm, and the hell realm, are carrying sacks that are larger than their bodies, and skillfully put the wheat ears gathered by the heavenly realm into the sacks. These scenes were transmitted by cameras to thousands of households. Are you packing rice? Nothing wrong. Although the picture is full of contradictions, it is completely inconsistent with the fierce appearance just established. But this group of self-proclaimed gods, Pain, are really pretending, especially the high-end operation of Shyandao Pain's repulsive harvesting and gravitational suction of rice just now made the eyes of countless rice growers light up instantly. This amazing harvesting method. Why didn't they think of it? It turns out there is such a way. In their eyes, Shyandao Pain has become a high-end rice harvesting master in front of the number 3 experimental field. Shyandao Pain didn't know that his actions had shocked many TV and foreign grain merchants. Even if he knew, he would just ignore it. The rain country, which is short of food, needs this rice. As the god of the kingdom of rain, I cannot stand idly by. These rice will be transported back to the country of rain and distributed to people struggling with hunger. Damn it, stop it. Yamato was severely injured, his eyes were bleeding, and he gritted his teeth and tried to get up. These rice condensed his hard work of countless days and nights. Absolutely not. Watch helplessly as Pain takes all of this away. Can you still stand up, Tendo? Pain glanced at the struggling Yamato with his peripheral vision. There was a little surprise in his eyes. The move he just made didn't hold back. Is it because Mudan has strengthened his physique? Shirado, who was putting rice into a sack, put down what he was doing and walked slowly towards Yamato's position. Since the move just now didn't kill you. Just at it, Shirado raised his right arm, and with the clicking sound of the mechanism activating, dense rockets rose from his arm. Yamato on the ground looked desperate. Now he can't even get up. Not to mention resisting the attacks of Shirado. Are you going to die here? What a shame. He failed to protect the rice grown in Konoha. Teacher, I'll let you down. Yamato's eyes were filled with despair. Boom. A figure fell from the sky and stepped on Shirado's back. With the roar of the earth, Shirado, who was about to attack, instantly exploded into countless parts and exploded. Yamato looked at the familiar back in front of him, his golden hair swaying in the arc of lightning. Pupil earthquake. Teacher? Chapter 110 Pain carries rice. The ratings are going to explode. Yamato on the ground held his breath and stared at the blonde figure falling from the sky. The pupils burst with intense excitement and excitement. That's right, really a teacher, great. If the teacher is here, the experimental field will be saved. Has the Konoha godlike man finally arrived? As long as the teacher takes action, even pain is no match at all. Quick, be sure to record it every second. The TV reporter hiding behind the rock urged the photographer next to him excitedly. The Fifth Hokage of Konoha faced off against Pain, who claimed to be a god. The ratings will definitely skyrocket now. My promotion and salary increase. Originally I just came here to take pictures of the ribbon cutting ceremony of the experimental field, but I didn't expect to encounter such an exciting scene. The reporter was going crazy with joy. Namikaze Mirai's blue eyes showed strong interest as he looked at Tendo Pain's Samurai. Tendo Pain is also sizing up the future of Namikaze. It's just that there is no emotion in those rippling eyes, only arrogance. The Fifth Hokage? Well, let's take this opportunity to deal with you together. Nagato thought this was a good opportunity. After Orochimaru defected back to Konoha, he set his sights on the 5th generation Hokage. After learning about the organizational intelligence leaked by Orochimaru, Namikaze Mirai's threat to Akatsuki increased dramatically. If it were in the heavily guarded Konoha village, it would be too difficult to deal with Namikaze Mirai. And now is a very good opportunity, right here. Kill the goddamn Hokage. Accept God's punishment. Tendo Pain raised his hand and was about to attack when he saw Namikaze Mirai in front of him appear again, already close at hand. Shinra Tenseng. The terrifying repulsion exploded, forming a huge arc-shaped wall of air, trying to eject Namikaze Mirai away. But a scene that shocked Nagato appeared. The repulsive force that he was proud of did not actually eject Namikaze Mirai away. The blonde figure was stubbornly resisting the explosive repulsive force, and his two fingers were constantly breaking the repulsive force, aiming at Tendo Pain's eyeballs. Blue eyes. Full of excitement, he wants to gouge out my eyes. This horrifying scene shocked the manipulating Nagato, and the flow of chakra was blocked for a moment. In fear, the repulsive force weakened, and the two fingers suddenly approached. Suffer it, Tendo Pain immediately retreated. Namikaze Mirai's two fingers were like solid iron, scratching his chest, leaving two bloody marks, until he retreated from a safe distance. Tendo Pain looked at Namikaze Mirai on the other side with horrified eyes. What? A shame, we almost dug it down. Namikaze Mirai looked at the remaining flesh and blood on his fingers and sighed with regret. Psychicism. Zashideo formed a seal with his hands and slammed them on the ground. Along with a burst of white mist, the giant rhinoceros roared and rushed towards Namikaze Mirai. Just when it was about to hit Namikaze Mirai disappeared instantly, and the blue light fell from the sky with terrifying force, bombarding the rhino's head. The ground burst open, and the rhino's upper body suddenly embedded into the ground. It's not finished yet. ZHU. Shengdao slapped his palm on the ground again. What appeared this time was a ferocious brown hellhound with a sharpened black rod nailed to its upper jaw. Bearing his salivating canine teeth, he stepped on the wheat field and bit down hard on Namikaze Mirai. What greeted it was a silver slash. The Cerberus froze, and its body was cut in half from the middle. Its flesh and blood surged, and it split into two new heads. The four-headed hellhound aimed at him and bit him. Interesting. Namikaze Mirai's blue eyes showed strong interest. He easily dodged the Cerberus's attack with one leap, landed on the Cerberus's back, and grabbed its body with both hands, a look of fanaticism in his eyes. Let me see how many you can split. Tear violently to both sides. The body of the Cerberus was violently torn open. The torn flesh sprouted again and split into new dog heads. But Namikaze Mirai's attack was not over yet. The palm holding the Cerberus's body gradually tightened, and violent lightning arcs swept across the Cerberus's body. As the hellhound wails in agony, the number of split heads increases 6, 7, 10. In front of the TV, the citizens of the Fire Nation looked at the densely packed dog heads with rippling eyes filled with pain, and a permeating feeling surged into their hearts until a certain moment, boom, the hellhound, which had been split so many times and could scare countless people with trypophobia to death, finally exploded and turned into countless black-brown liquids that splashed everywhere. The eyelids of the ninjas watching this scene in front of the TV and around them jumped wildly. It's so pinched. Namikaze Mirai crushed the hellhound that could divide infinitely. Even those who channeled the Hell Dog's animal ways looked at this scene blankly. Retreat. Nagato was unwilling to fight. The strength that Namikaze will reveal in the future will definitely not be solved in a short time. The top priority is to transport the rice back to the land of rain. The hungry ghost realm of hell picked up the sack full of rice and jumped away in the rice fields. Ashura Road was destroyed by Namikaze Mirai, and no one was able to carry away his sack full of rice. Tendo could only carry his share and leave with a sack bigger than his body. Namikaze Mirai was about to chase after him when he suddenly felt a chill coming from behind. The human world appeared behind him, holding his body from behind, trying to pull away his soul. Once the soul is extracted, no matter how powerful a ninja is, he will die. This was a gift carefully prepared by Nagato for Namikaze Mirai. If it succeeds, this enemy can be completely eliminated. The human being who was holding Namikaze Mirai, before he could extract his soul, saw a silvery mercury-like fluid seeping out of Namikaze Mirai's body and spreading upwards along his arms. What's this? Nagato, who controlled the human world, had not yet seen the appearance of the material clearly. The transmitted picture appeared like snowflakes like an old TV, and then completely darkened. The black stick was destroyed. Nagato fell into silence in the shadows in front of the experimental field. The human being looked extremely miserable. He fell to the ground, and all the holes in his face were oozing silver fluid, which was oozing and terrifying. Namikaze Mirai, who had solved the human world, turned his attention to Tendal Pain, who was carrying rice and escaping. His body was filled with lightning. The ground beneath his feet suddenly exploded, and he rushed forward at an accelerated speed. Tendal Pain, who was carrying a sack that was bigger than his body, felt the severe cold coming from behind, and his spirit was tense to the extreme. The palm of your hand is most aimed behind your back. Shinra. Tenzheng. A huge repulsive force exploded, pushing his speed to increase sharply. Then continue to run away. Hurry. We must film this scene. The reporter hiding behind the boulder was so excited that he urged the photographer, who was also hiding behind the boulder and carrying a camera. Pain carries the rice. The ratings this time are going to be explosive. Chapter 111, The Ultimate Social Death. Pain, the Rice Thief. The scene of Kido Pain escaping with rice on his shoulders was captured by a photographer in hiding and spread to thousands of households. The villagers who were watching the live broadcast almost dropped their jaws when they saw this shocking scene. It's that guy Pain, isn't he claiming to be a god? Why is he running away carrying rice? Absurd. How ridiculous. There is a huge contrast between the oppressive appearance of Tendo Pain and the current scene. What? Pain? What a god. I think he is almost a thief who resists rice. Yes, or thief who resists rice. The audience in front of the TV laughed. The panic that Pen could not breathe before gradually dissipated under the impact of this scene, leaving only an absurd dramatic conflict. Pain, who claims to be a god, is actually an anti-rice thief. Konoha. Orochimaru looked at the picture of Pain carrying rice on the TV with deep surprise and disbelief in his eyes. In his memory, the leader has always been a very cold and aloof existence. Resist rice, or resist rice and escape. This kind of thing is unbelievable when you think about it, but soon he realized that the reason why Pain had to take away the rice was probably because the current rice market in the country of rain was on the verge of collapse. Rice support is urgently needed. That's why we must resist taking away the rice at all costs. Namikaze Mirai is truly a terrifying guy. He is probably the only one who can force a leader with immortal eyes to look like this, although he could see that Pain did not go all out, and some of the 6 paths did not take action. However, such a record is already quite astonishing. He had personally fought against Tendal Pain, and it was difficult for him to resist even Tendal alone, let alone all 6 of them appeared this time. Namikaze Mirai, where is his limit? Just as Orochimaru was thinking about it, he suddenly noticed that Mirai Namikaze on the TV was about to catch up with Tendo Pain. Damn it, Tendal Pain's eyes were full of unwillingness behind him. Namikaze Mirai was approaching quickly. This battle was too frustrating. First Shura path was directly bombed by Namikaze Mirai, who fell from the sky, and Pain's 6 paths were directly reduced to 5 paths, and the human world lost contact in a strange way, and the 6 paths were reduced in number again. Although the Hell Realm can resurrect the rest of Pain. But now there is no chance of repair. Liang Dao's corpse was still lying in front of the experimental field. Psychicism. The beast bites his finger. A huge samurai lizard appeared in the white mist, blocking the oncoming Namikaze Mirai. The manipulating Nagato felt his teeth itching with hatred. If it were the complete 6 paths of Pain, he would naturally not be afraid of Namikaze's future. But now there are only 4 of the 6 paths left, and they cannot exert their normal power at all. Even if the remaining 3 chakras are concentrated on Dao. Without the other 2 chakras, they may not be able to deal with Namikaze Mirai. The top priority is to get out of here first. Pain made his debut, and was so embarrassed. In Nagato's heart, his hatred for Namikaze Mirai had risen to the extreme. Namikaze Mirai was designated by him as the #1 enemy of the Akatsuki organization. A being that must be killed, no matter what the cost. Moreover, he could feel that the purpose of Namikaze Mirai's pursuit was not simple. Reminiscent of the image of Namikaze Mirai clasping Dao's eyes before. He vaguely guessed. Namikaze's true purpose in the future. I'm afraid it's the samurai. Next time, I'll let you see the true power of the immortal eyes. Nagato gritted his teeth unwillingly. The animal path channeled several giant beasts one after another to block him, and finally blocked Namikaze's future momentum. Watching Tendal Pain disappearing with the sack on his back, Namikaze Mirai stepped on the giant chameleon with great force and crushed it. If he explodes with all his strength, he might be able to break through the obstruction of the psychic beast and catch up with Pain. But that doesn't mean anything. In the biomagnetic field perception, these Pain's bodies did not have any biomagnetic field fluctuations. There is only one possibility. Corpse. Only corpses that have long since died without any cellular life activity will not have a biomagnetic field. Since it is a corpse, the reincarnation eye is naturally fake. Puppet. Namikaze Mirai's eyes were profound. The real enemy is hidden behind the scenes. The so-called 6 paths of Pain are just 6 puppets controlled by the samurai. He began to become very interested in the power of the samurai. Just a few puppets can exert such power. What kind of power does the real samurai have? Only eyes like this deserve to be dug out by me. Konoha. Umbrella Research Center. Orochimaru looked at the 2 corpses lying flat on the anatomy bed, with a strong look of excitement in his eyes. The human path and the Asura path. He had seen them with the chief. At that time, he was extremely coveted for the other party's power. However, due to the strength of Dao, he was unable to take action. Now, finally there is a chance, as expected of you. Future Kun, where are your limits? Orochimaru licked his lips and looked at Namikaze Mirai with bright eyes. It's just that I have a little better luck and the other party is not interested in fighting. Namikaze Mirai didn't want to waste time on these things, especially after knowing that the so-called Pain was just a puppet. His mind was already focused on how to dig out the samurai. Upon hearing this, Orochimaru stopped complimenting him and began to study the corpses of the 2 Pain. The corpse of human world is extremely well preserved. Namikaze Mirai uses magnetic fluid to kill the opponent. The magnetic fluid particles are only nanometer sized. From the appearance, there is no difference from being an injured. But Dao is different. Dao was bombarded by Namikaze Mirai's drop from the sky. Almost his entire body exploded into a pile of parts, with only his head still intact. However, Namikaze's future interests are all in Dao. In the ninja world, there are actually such technological bodies: rocket launchers, laser cannons. Dao has so many advanced weapons hidden in his small body. It's amazing. If only it could be replicated on a large scale. Isn't it a perfect humanoid soldier? The land of rain. Pain, who returned, distributed the rice snatched from the Fire Nation's experimental field to the victims as expected. He would judge Konoha's experimental fields as a god, and in their fear, plunder the rice and return to the land of rain. In this way, not only the food shortage problem in the rain country can be improved. Pain's divine form will also spread throughout the ninja world following this incident. Unexpectedly, Namikaze Mirai's sudden appearance interrupted his plan. Fortunately, I still brought back some rice. With the infusion of some rice, many hungry people in the land of rain will finally be full. Xiaonan, how's it going? Chiandao. Pain watched Xiaonan appear with anticipation in his heart. The citizens of the land of rain who have eaten rice should be thanking their gods now, but soon he found that Xiaonan looked unnatural. Zonan, what happened? Nagato, there is something I must tell you. Xiaonan spoke complicatedly. The scene of you carrying rice in the land of fire was captured by a hidden photographer and has now spread throughout the ninja world. The citizens of the kingdom of rain also saw that scene. Zao. Nanmei could not bear it in her eyes. Now, they call you the rice thief. Chapter 112. Pain declares, I'm a god, not a rice thief. The news of the attack on the Far Country's number 3 hybrid rice experimental field spread throughout the ninja world at a terrifying speed. A shocking video following this incident spread wildly in the ninja world. So fast, like a virus. Oh my god. How could we, Lord Pain, do such a thing? Is this really Lord Pain? The villagers in Uian village were stunned when they saw the scene on TV. Pain, whom they had always regarded as a god, was actually carrying a sack bigger than his body and running fast on the rice fields in a ghostly manner, thinking of the rice that had just been distributed recently. These ninjas shuddered. Could it be that Pain snatched the rice? This viral video of Pain carrying rice also came into the eyes of the 4 major ninja villages Iwagakure village. Inoki in that Tsuchikage room looked at Pain running wildly carrying rice on the screen, staring at those rippling eyes with an exaggerated look. These eyes are, if he guessed correctly. The eyes of the immortal of 6 paths. Is the legend true? Do these eyes really exist? Inoki's heart was filled with shock and disbelief. Even with such eyes, he was still crushed by the 5th Hokage of Konoha and ran away. Inoki felt like he had a severe headache. There seemed to be a few fingers inserted into the temples, stirring vigorously. Samurai. This legendary eye has appeared. Namikaze's future strength is a bit too strong. Even the owner of the Samurai was beaten like this by him. Inoki suddenly felt that the ninja world had become unfamiliar, and things beyond his common understanding emerged one after another. Union village. Thunder Shadow Room. The 4th Hokage eyes were fixed on the blonde figure on the TV. Bloodshot eyes burst out. Namikaze Mirai, the man who caused Union village to suffer huge losses. The scene in the video of Namikaze Mirai beating Pain was like a heavy hammer hitting his brain. Powerful, ridiculously strong. Even through the video, you can feel the suffocating pressure. If I faced Namikaze Mirai, would it be possible to win? AI knew that there was little hope, so he clenched his fingers unwillingly. A dark and damp cave. The heretic demon statue spread out its palms with a ferocious expression, and on its fingers stood several figures wearing black-red cloud robes. There was an awkwardness in the air. These members of the Akatsuki organization standing on the fingers of the outside demon statue have strange faces. An eerie silence filled the cave. Heavenly Deo Pain stood above the head of the heretic, with an indescribable look in his rippling lavender eyes. This matter is my responsibility. The members on the fingers of the heretic golem looked strange. Of course they knew what the leader was referring to. Carry rice. Pain, the rice thief. These words have been spreading wildly in the ninja world at a terrifying speed recently. Even those who have never paid attention to such things have heard related rumors to some extent. The reputation of the Akatsuki organization was horribly cut in half as the word Pen carries rice spread. If they claimed to be members of the Akatsuki organization now, they would probably be laughed at immediately. Is it the organization that carries rice, chief? This matter is not your responsibility. If you want to blame it, you can only blame Konoha for being too shameless. Xiaonan couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up to clear Nagato's name. There was actually a photographer in Konoha hiding in the dark to take secret photos. How shameless. No, Xiaonan, I'm indeed responsible for this. Chiandao. Pain shook his head. He appreciated Xiaonan's kindness, but one thing comes back to another as the leader. If he cannot lead by example, who in the Akatsuki organization will obey his management. If this continues, Akatsuki will only become distracted. There was a speechless look in the black eyes. Nagato, you said you had nothing to do, and why did you provoke Namikaze Mirai? Now, the whole scene of you carrying rice was broadcast live. Everyone in the ninja world knows that the leader of the Akatsuki organization is a thief carrying rice. Eye of the Moon's plan will definitely be hindered. It has become more difficult for Mama-san to get out of trouble. For Heiju, he has been planning for thousands of years, just so that Mama-san can get out of trouble. Nagato's mindless behavior made him feel quite angry. Chief, what are you going to do? Obito, who was wearing a Uzumaki mask, said solemnly. Now that it was over, he wanted to know how Pain would handle it. He had personally experienced how powerful Namikaze was in the future. That is a suffocating enemy. He also saw the battle between Pain and Namikaze Mirai. Namikaze Mirai was stronger than he imagined. Pain's reincarnation eyes are arrogant. The undeniable majestic voice spread from the cave. I will prove to the ninja world who is the god. Fujino. Daikichi feels that he is a very lucky person. Originally, he was just an ordinary reporter at the Fire Nation TV station. His boss makes things difficult for him at work and his wife makes things difficult for him after get off work. This is his daily life. I thought days like this would continue forever. Unexpectedly, a simple interview with Hybrid Rice Records actually changed the trajectory of his life. Pen, you are my lucky god, Fujino. Daikichi sighed. The video of Pain risking his life to carry rice caused the TV station's ratings to skyrocket. He successfully jumped 3 levels in a row, changing from a young reporter to a TV station director. All this is thanks to Pain. Without Pain, his life would probably never improve in his lifetime. Just when he was feeling like this in the office. Poof, a black iron rod came out of his chest. Fujino Daikichi's pupils shrank suddenly, and his eyes moved back in fear. He saw a pair of rippling eyes without any emotion. Since you are grateful for my gift, use your life to repay it, Tendo. Pain used a little force to throw Fujino Daikichi's body out of the window. Outside. The Fire Nation TV station has fallen into chaos, with screams and wails rising from here. The Hell Realms and Animal Realms are going on a killing spree. The audience who was sitting in front of the TV and watching the TV suddenly noticed that there were snowflakes in the picture played on the TV, and the content suddenly changed. The emotionless face of Komido Pain appears on television. The sound spread out. I want to declare to the world, Pen is a god. Pen, the guy carrying the rice, just when the audience in front of the TV was shocked by the scene in front of them. The content on the TV changed again, and the blonde face of Namikaze Mirai appeared among the snowflakes. I, Mirai Namikaze, declare as the 5th Hokage of Konoha. Pen, stealing the Fire Nation's rice is a vicious crime. Konoha will block the Rain Country rice market. I hereby call on all countries in the ninja world to work together to punish this rice thief. Chapter 113. Zao wants to recruit people. Konoha. Hokage room. Orochimaru looked at the statement playing on the TV. Swallowed. In the future, is this move too cruel? This statement from Namikaze Mirai perfectly covered the statement from Tendo Pain. The content is also a crushing of Pain's statement. It can be said that after this statement was released. Even if Pain jumped into the Yellow River, he wouldn't be able to get rid of the nickname of the rice thief. What frightened Orochimaru the most was that Namikaze Mirai also blocked the rice market in the Land of Rain. The food market of the Land of Fire is the largest in the ninja world. Coupled with the recent hybrid rice and agricultural production cooperatives, a large number of grain merchants poured into the country of fire. Konoha now controls almost half of the food merchants in the ninja world. This combination of punches goes down. I'm afraid Pain is going to cry when I think of the cold leader with immortal eyes. He was repeatedly defeated at the hands of Namikaze Mirai. Orochimaru felt incredible. It was as if Namikaze Mirai was born to restrain Pain. Orochimaru, don't forget, our goal is the Rinnegan. Namikaze Mirai behaved quite calmly. He always remembered his goal. He wanted to resurrect Minato and Kushina. The Samsara controls the reincarnation of life and death. After Orochimaru heard Namikaze Mirai's words, he suddenly felt some sympathy for Tendo Pain. If only he knew that the reason Namikaze targeted him in the future was because he had the sage eyes. I'm afraid I will vomit blood in depression. the immortal eyes that countless people in the ninja world are crazy about have become the source of disaster in his case. In fact, Tendo Pain was really depressed to death. After seeing the statement issued by Namikaze Mirai. He tried to reissue the statement. But it couldn't succeed. No matter what, the content on the TV station was fixed on Namikaze Mirai calling on the ninja world to boycott Pain, the rice thief. The so-called TV signal is nothing more than electromagnetic waves in a special frequency band. Under the influence of Namikaze Mirai's electromagnetic force, there is no possibility for Tendo Pain to modify it. Nagato didn't know the reason, but he knew that it was probably impossible for him to get rid of the title of Rice Thief. After a long silence, he finally made up his mind to reconvene the meeting. It's still that cave. The atmosphere this time was even more embarrassing than the last time. The members of the Akatsuki organization standing on the finger of the heretic demon looked at each other, but no one spoke first. The statement issued by the leader not only had no effect. Also covered by Namikaze Mirai's statement. Today's TV stations broadcast Namikaze Mirai's statements on a loop almost 24 hours a day. Call on the ninja world to boycott Pain. Zero. We are recruiting new people. After a long silence, Tendo Pain finally spoke. Recruiting new people. Kakuzu and others looked confused. Why is the leader recruiting new people at this time? The Akatsuki organization is currently facing an unfavorable situation. If we want to break through the current situation, we need to expand the power of the Akatsuki organization. The unmistakable voice of Tendo Pain spread. The strength of the organization needs to be expanded urgently. Only with sufficient strength can the current predicament be reversed. These are the ninjas I selected who are qualified to join the organization. Your task is to recruit these ninjas into the organization. The moment Pain's voice fell, Xiaonan held a stack of documents and flapped her paper wings, flying towards the members of the Akatsuki organization on the fingertips of the outside demon. Distribute the documents in your arms. Kakuzu looked at the document in his hand. It detailed the identity information and abilities of the ninja he wanted to recruit. At the top is a photo. Kakuzu frowned. Judging from the photo, he is a young brat. Can such a guy join the organization? But since the leader had already spoken, it was hard for him to refute. After Xiaonan's documents were distributed, she flew back to Tendo Pain. If there is no problem, let's start taking action. The meeting has just ended. Obito's body appeared on a big tree through a twisting vortex. Next to it, the pitcher plant white Zetsu slowly emerged from the trunk. Obito, Nagato has been acting strange lately. Henry Ju's faint voice came out. I guess he is unwilling to lose to Namikaze Mirai. The scarlet eyes outside Obito's Uzumaki mask are penetrating. Nagato has always regarded himself as a god and feels that he is the only one who can save the ninja world. Those eyes are the best proof. But the appearance of Namikaze in the future gradually shattered his filter on himself. Nagato couldn't accept it for a while. It's also normal. Thinking of Namikaze's future, Obito's eyes showed deep solemnity. He had fought against Namikaze Mirai. The virtualization ability that he was proud of did not gain any benefit in the hands of Namikaze Mirai. It was cracked by Namikaze Mirai with a large scale attack that lasted for 30 minutes. If not for preparing the extra 3 Megatama Sharingan. He was about to use Ai's energy with the kaleidoscope. The fear in his heart for Namikaze's future rose to the extreme. Others may not know his identity, but he himself knows very well that as a disciple of Minato, he single-handedly shaped the Night of the Nine Tails that killed Minato and his wife. If Namikaze knows his identity in the future, the thought of being targeted by such a terrifying man. Obito's chest seemed to be pressed by a huge stone, and he could hardly breathe. Namikaze Mirai is like the sword of Damocles floating above his head, which may be cut down at any time. Obito, are you okay? Why do you look like this suddenly, bae? Ju looked at him with surprised eyes. It's okay, let's go. Obito exhaled, letting go of the heaviness that had accumulated in his heart. The ninja they want to recruit is in the Kingdom of Water, and he is a candidate he has been secretly observing for a long time. If you can pull that person into your own camp, your chances of winning against Namikaze will be much greater in the future. Just when Obito started to take action. On the other side, Kakuzu and others also began to go to Yuno country to embark on a journey to recruit new members. After traveling for a while, they finally arrived at Tang Country. This country has the reputation of forgetting the war. It is a rather remote small country, and domestic information is not developed. Hyundai Pain searched the air for a while, and finally found his target. Hidden was whistling, carrying a scarlet scythe that was bigger than his body, and walking leisurely on the road with his hands behind his head. At this period, he still looked like a teenager. Target found. Tendo. Pain descended from the sky, landed in front of Hidden, and spoke indifferently. I am Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki organization. I came here this time to recruit. Before he could finish his words, he was rudely interrupted by Hidden. Pointing his finger at Hyundai Pain. Eyes wild. I know you. Pain, the rice thief. Hyundai Pain was stunned for a moment, and Xiaonan, who was following him, also turned pale. The title of anti-rice thief. Have they all spread to the country of Tang? Exclamation mark. Chapter 114 Obito's plan. Dual divine power. What the hell? Has the title of anti-rice thief spread to the kingdom of Tang? Xiaonan's face looked extremely ugly. Hyundai Pain beside him was also frozen in place. This carefully prepared recruitment was embarrassing from the beginning. Members of the Akatsuki organization are all S-class rebel ninjas from major ninja villages. Conan tried to save Nagato's face and muttered, Hidden, we have studied your abilities, and joining Akatsuki will be of great benefit to you. Rebel ninja? Isn't it an organization carrying rice? I've seen the scene of Pain carrying rice on TV. I heard that when you were carrying rice, you were run over by the Fifth Hokage of Konoha. Did you finally carry the rice back? Hidden looked at Pain in surprise, as if he was looking at something very surprising. Kakuzu next to him looked at Hidden with gloating eyes. With his knowledge of the leader, this guy's probably going to be in bad luck. Why don't you say anything? It seems that people are saying that you are a rice thief. Shinra Tenzheng. A terrifying repulsive force erupted, and the chattering Hidden was violently blasted away, creating a ravine along with the road in front of him, and spreading out. Looking at Hidden, which was almost broken into several sections, and scattered on the messy road, Nagato could see a tic-tac-toe vein bulging on his forehead. Maybe recruiting this guy was a mistake. At the same time, there is a hidden cave entrance. The body was tightly wrapped in a black-bottomed red cloud robe, like a red sand scorpion crawling on the ground like a rickety old man, staring at the dark entrance. According to the information provided by the leader, the teammates he wants to recruit are in this cave. His last teammate was that disgusting snake who had always been at odds with him. Unexpectedly, after defecting from the organization, he fled directly back to Konoha, creating an unprecedented new history. All the teammates the leader provides this time. I hope it's a ninja who can stand up to beatings, otherwise my puppet will not be merciful. With this thought in mind, the red sand scorpion entered the cave in trance. Haven't walked a few steps yet. The soles of his feet seemed to step on something, and there were a few clicks in the dark corridor, and several kunai that reflected the cold light burst out. Clang. Clang, the Firyu tiger's metal tail was swung dexterously, easily blocking all kunai. A boring trick. In Z's heart, he was quite low on the candidates he wanted to recruit. It seems that he is not a strong person who uses such boring tricks. Just when he was disdainful, a slightly joking chuckle came from the other end of the corridor. I thought it was an Anbu sent by Konoha to hunt him down, but it seems like he's just an unlucky guy who stumbled into this place by mistake. The red sand scorpion was startled. Konoha, the ninja to be recruited this time is a rebellious ninja from Konoha. There is no record of this in the intelligence provided by the leader. His interest suddenly arose. Are you a rebel ninja of Konoha? I wonder who is stronger compared to Orochimaru. Orochimaru, do you know that guy Orochimaru? The sound of gnashing teeth came from the other end of the corridor. It seemed that after hearing the name Orochimaru, strong hatred emerged in his heart. The red sand scorpion's interest deepened. This guy actually knows Orochimaru, and seems to have some serious grudge. It seems that the guy we are recruiting this time will be a very interesting person. The land of water fog shadow village. In a dark and damp underground room. Poof, accompanied by the sound of flesh being torn apart by a sharp weapon. Kisame, you actually dare to betray me? The Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost's eyes were full of horror and disbelief. His most loyal subordinate, the honest man Kisame, who had always been loyal, actually betrayed him. His palms trembled, and he reached back, trying to grab the handle of Sumehoda's knife. As one of the 7 most famous ninja swords in Kirakage village, if you can use its power, you might be able to counterattack. A ferocious scream sounded out, and the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost felt a heartbreaking pain erupting from the wound. Do you think I'm defenseless? Kisame sneered and turned the hand holding the handle of the knife hard. The rapid passage of life force caused the vision of the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost to blur, and all the strength in his body seemed to be drained out in an instant. At the last moment, he stared viciously into Kisame's eyes and made a hoarse voice like a curse. Kisame, you will regret it. Kisame thrust the ninja sword in with great force, and accompanied by a tremor from Yamagaki, he ended his sinful life. After confirming that the opponent was dead, Kisame untied the Sumehoda sword from his back and gently stroked the rough blade of Sumehoda. Thank you for your hard work, Kisame. The familiar voice coming from the shadow behind him made Kisame freeze for a moment. His palm immediately placed on the handle of Sumehoda's sword. Kisame went into alert mode and turned his head with great vigilance. What came into view was Shota's face, with a centipede-shaped scar under the eyelid of his right eye. He spoke in a soft voice. I guessed that he would let down his guard against you as a subordinate, Kisame. You really lived up to expectations. Kisame's pupils trembled. The Yondaime Mizukage. Why is he here? And there seemed to be no surprise about his betrayal of Kirigakure village, etc. The lax vigilance just now was raised to the extreme again, and Kisame held his breath, as if he had discovered something extremely terrifying, and narrowed his eyes. A strong murderous aura emanated from him. Come out. Behind Yagira, a figure emerged from the darkness, his scarlet Sharingan glowing with a strange red light. This kind of eyes, Sharingan. Kisame's I shook. Suddenly I seemed to understand something. So, the person we call the 4th Mizukage has always been you? With the power to control the 3-tailed Jinchuriki Mizukage. Who are you? Uchiha Madara. The figure in the shadow spoke. The air suddenly became silent. In what era was Madara a figure? How could he be alive until now? Kisame's heart was extremely tense. In the shadow, the figure slowly took off the mask on his face. Kisame's pupils suddenly trembled. The world around him changed, surrounded by a pure white space, and a scarlet blood moon suspended in the sky. Eye of the moon, this is my plan, Obito slowly narrated. It didn't take long for Kisame to accept the message he conveyed, his eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Is that so? The confusion in his eyes disappeared, replaced by intense interest. Akatsuki organization? I joined. Wise choice, Uchiha. Obito had a smile in his eyes. It was much smoother than he expected. The honest man Kisame is the Kirigakure ninja that he has been following for a long time. Being trapped in the confusion and pain of killing his companions, this pain allowed him to understand the true meaning of the Eye of the Moon. With Kisame joining, he is finally no longer so weak in the Akatsuki organization. Obito felt heavy. It seems that he used Madara's identity to transcend the world and secretly guide the progress of the ninja world. Only he knows that now he is on the edge of the cliff. It's all because of that man. The 5th Hokage of Konoha, Mirai Namikaze. Once Namikaze knew his identity in the future, Obito shuddered. It was impossible to predict what horrific things that man would do. That guy Nagato is becoming more and more unreliable. The video of Pain carrying rice was broadcast all over the ninja world, and the Akatsuki organization was disgraced. Looking for a chance to get Kakashi's Sharingan back. Obito's face was gloomy. Just a single eye is simply not enough to deal with the future threats of Namikaze. Must obtain double divine power. Chapter 115 Synthetic Beast Tide vs Puppet Troops. Orochimaru. What's your relationship with that guy Orochimaru? In the dark cave, the sound of gnashing teeth with hatred came from the other end. Sensing the resentment in the other party's tone, the Crimson Sand Scorpion responded with interest. He can barely be considered a former colleague. That guy's a very talented ninja and has a unique artistic perspective on life. I have discussed it with him many times in private, knowing The hatred between the person opposite and Orochimaru. The red sand scorpion deliberately praised Orochimaru without hesitation, hoping to inspire the other person's hatred. Sure enough, just after he finished speaking, an angry roar came from the end of the cave. What kind of talent does that Orochimaru guy have? Boom. As the cave rumbled and shook, a giant beast with a huge body rushed over. It looks like a turtle, carrying a huge turtle shell, but has a dog's head and grinning teeth. What kind of ninja beast is this? The red sand scorpion looked surprised. With his rich experience, he didn't even recognize the type of this ninja beast. Where did the glands go? Was he forcibly replaced with a dog head? In this brief moment of surprise, the alien giant beast had already rushed towards him, opening its bloody mouth to bite him. The red sand scorpion jumped back to dodge, and the metal tail under the black robe reflected the cold light, stabbing the alien beast's right eye fiercely. Poof. Red blood splashed out. The dog-headed synthetic beast roared pitifully, and its huge body rolled in pain in the cave. The toxin contained in the red sand scorpion tail sting is taking effect, quickly eroding the cells of the synthetic beast along the damaged eyeball. Being too large is not necessarily a good thing, especially in this cave, where space is limited. The red sand scorpion stared at the struggling synthetic beast with pity. The enemy at the other end of the corridor seemed to have discovered this problem. With a bang, the struggling synthetic beast turned into smoke and dissipated. The red sand scorpion noticed a strange purple light emerging from the end of the dark cave, and then the ground beneath his feet suddenly shook slightly. The vibration increased rapidly. The whole cave started shaking. The red sand scorpion's eyes widened, and he stared at the scene opposite with disbelief. Synthetic beast, densely packed synthetic beasts. It was as if different types of ninja beasts were randomly put together to form an infiltrating population. The crowded cave was filled with water, and it came like a wave. Hateful. The red sand scorpion quickly retreated. If it weren't for his current puppet body, I would probably have goosebumps all over his body. Forcing different types of creatures into one creature is such a disgusting thing. Not even Orochimaru can do it, right? Outside world. With a few whooshing sounds, the red sand scorpion wearing a black-red cloud robe sprang out of the cave, and a rumbling vibration came from the entrance of the cave behind him. In less than a second, the entrance to the cave was like a volcano erupting, and densely packed synthetic beasts were squeezed out and spewed out. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Being chased by a group of synthetic beasts, the red sand scorpion would get angry, no matter how good-tempered he was, not to mention that he had a bad temper. The Filiu tiger's metal tail swung and shot out dense poisonous needles, like rain, covering the beast wave at the front. After the poisonous needle entered the body, these ugly synthetic beasts became much quieter. Their bodies swayed, and they fell down one after another as if they were drunk. Before Scorpion could rejoice, the synthetic beasts from behind quickly filled in the vacancy, rushing towards him like there was no end. Compared with quantity, I have never been afraid of anyone. Lifting off his black-red cloud robe, the red sand scorpion's body broke away from the Filiu tiger shell and jumped into the air. The third of the 4 scrolls on the back has been removed, and the regeneration core with the red word scorpion written on the left chest pops out, shooting out dense blue chakra threads in an instant. Puppets wearing dark red robes appeared quickly from the sky, holding weapons of various shapes in their hands, and shadows shrouded the synthetic beasts below. Now, we can fight as equals. The red sand scorpion, which controlled 100 puppets, looked at the synthetic beast group opposite with a dull expression. Hundreds of machines in action, the ultimate art of controlling 100 puppets, as if it was frightened by the airtight puppet in the sky. The originally frantic synthetic beast suddenly froze in place, at a loss. There is no chance to regret now. After snorting coldly, the crimson sand scorpion controlled 100 puppets to launch the attack first. The grudges caused by being run over by this group of synthetic beasts must be settled. The synthetic beast on the ground roared and pounced on the incoming puppet. A fierce battle between beasts and puppets officially begins. The 2 black lines collided violently like surging waves. Roars of beasts, and the sound of broken puppets echoed throughout the battlefield. Clang. The puppet holding a huge machete was about to slash at the neck of a synthetic beast. The synthetic beast turned its head with an astonishing reaction speed and bit the blunt knife with its sharp teeth. The friction between the canine teeth and the machete made a crisp metal collision sound, and sparks squeaked out from the contact point. In the end, the puppet was the better, and the poison smeared on the machete began to take effect. The synthetic beast biting the blade was paralyzed and unable to continue the stalemate. Its entire lower jaw was cut off by the blade. It was decapitated while wailing and fell to the ground with a whimper. The puppet that had killed the synthetic beast was about to find its next target when a strong wind suddenly came out from behind. A more ferocious synthetic beast bit the back of its neck and tore the puppet's body to pieces, with all its parts shattered into pieces before the synthetic beast could be happy. After destroying the puppet, two puppets came over, one on the left and one on the right. While it was biting, two sharp ninja swords were pierced through its weak abdomen. In an instant, take away its life. The body of a ferocious beast fought against the puppets made of machinery. Every moment, the puppets were bitten to pieces and the synthetic beasts were killed. The ground was gradually covered with a large number of messy parts and the bloody corpses of synthetic beasts. As time passed, the balance of victory in this battle began to tip towards the puppet troops. After all, it would be too much of a disadvantage to use a body of flesh and blood against a body of a puppet without sentience. Even these ferocious synthetic beasts are like this. When the battle began, the more numerous synthetic beasts had gradually become numerically inferior as the battle progressed. There was even a situation where one synthetic beast struggled to fight two puppets. The puppets are not afraid of life and death and have no pain perception, but the synthetic beasts are different. Their modified bodies will still feel tired and be affected by toxins. It's just that compared to ordinary ninja beasts, the upper limit of what they can withstand is much higher. Damn it, the ninja who manipulated the synthetic beasts behind the scenes obviously also discovered this problem. If this progress continues, it will only be a matter of time before all his synthetic beasts are strangled. We can't go on any longer. His hands formed a seal in the shadows. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. Zio organized a collective effort to carry rice. The remaining synthetic beasts seemed to have received the order and quickly gathered towards the center with her. All the bodies of the gathered synthetic beasts glowed purple like gel coat, and they spliced together into even larger synthetic beasts as all the remaining synthetic beasts on the battlefield were invested. The size of this giant synthetic beast also expanded to its maximum size, and a huge shadow shrouded the battlefield. Compared with the previous synthetic beasts were as small as cats. The most peculiar thing is its arms. It seems that every limb of the synthetic beast is spliced together, making its arms like centipedes, densely packed and terrifying. Sucker Punch, Scorpion, who had broken away from the Filiu tiger shell and revealed his original appearance as a red-haired Shota, was not shocked by the huge beast that had been fused. His expression was calm, as if he had expected it. The giant synthetic beast moved and simply raised its foot and stamped it, easily crushing a puppet. Its huge size brings it far more destructive power than before. In comparison, those densely packed centipede-like forearms were as useless as a dwarf. Faced with the synthetic beast in this state, Scorpion did not fight forcefully and controlled all the remaining puppets to retreat, leaving the battlefield where only the giant synthetic beast remained. He took out the first scroll from behind. There was a click. The pipe in the middle of the palm spurted out terrifying flames with extremely high temperatures. The size is too large, and there is no way to avoid the giant synthetic beast. Amidst the painful roar, the body was burned by high temperature flames and shriveled up and turned black. It rolled in pain on the messy battlefield, and the faint smell of barbecue spread out. Scorpion's face was expressionless, and he increased the temperature of the flames ejected from his palms. His first scroll perfectly restrained this giant ninja beast. The huge size makes it impossible for this giant beast to avoid when faced with an attack. Soon, the tortured giant beast finally let out a whimper and fell down like a pillar of heaven. The hair on its body was burned away, and it had shrunk in size. Some parts were still covered in yellow oil stains. It is finally over. The red sand scorpion put down its fire-breathing palm and looked at the dark cave with a pair of cold eyes. As the loser, can you come out? Biliuhu. The moment his voice fell, the sound of gnashing teeth came from inside the cave. When did I offend an enemy like you? From the shadows, a dwarf ninja who was covered in bandages slowly walked out. Even his mouth was covered in bandages. His eyes were staring viciously at the red sand scorpion with extremely resentful eyes. Almost all of his synthetic beasts, which he had painstakingly accumulated, were lost in the battle. You should ask Orochimaru. The red sand scorpion had a sneer in his eyes. The leader's order was for him to recruit Biliuhu as a teammate. But he has now changed his mind. He was disgusted by Baruhu's synthetic beast, which was a physical technology even more disgusting than Orochimaru's. A puppet flew towards Biliuhu with a machete in hand. The blade reflects the cold light. The red sand scorpion had a sneer in his eyes. The leader is not here now, so he will deal with Biliuhu like this, and then tell the leader that Biliuhu is unwilling to be recruited and was accidentally killed by himself in the battle. Perfect. Just when he was about to take action, Scorpion, what are you doing? An angry voice fell from high in the sky. The red sand scorpion cursed in his heart. It's really not the right time to come. Then Zionan, wearing a black and red cloud robe, flew down from the sky and landed in front of Biliuhu. Zionan, didn't you accompany the leader to recruit other members? The scorpion of red sand sounded unhappy. If Zionan hadn't suddenly appeared, his plan would have succeeded. It has ended. It's over? So soon? The red sand scorpion was surprised. The person the leader and the others are recruiting should be from Kuni, right? It takes a lot of time to go back and forth. How can it be so fast? Sensing Zio's shocked expression, Zionan looked at the approaching Kakuzu and others with an indescribable expression and said speechlessly, that guy was so talkative that the leader couldn't help but take action. The red sand scorpion looked at Kakuzu in pain. Apart from the two, he did not see a third ninja. Where's the new recruit? It's here. Kakuzu threw the sack on his shoulder to the ground with a look of displeasure. A cry of pain came from inside. Damn it. The anti-rice thief. How dare you treat me like this? Lord Evil God will punish you. The red sand scorpion looked inside the sack. The inside of the sack was bloody. His hands and limbs were chaotically pushed together and hidden, with only half of his mouth open, was still spitting curses inside. The leader originally planned to kill this guy directly, but his ability is too abnormal. Even if he is beaten like this, he still can't be killed. Zionan was speechless as he heard the curse words rice thief coming from the sack from time to time. Hidden's abilities were simply unheard of. Unable to kill him, he had to be carried back. The red sand scorpion was stunned. It seems that on the other side, the recruiting process is even more exciting than here. While several people were talking, Biliuhu was tiptoeing, planning to sneak away. He didn't want to join any Akatsuki organization. Just through these few ninjas, you can see how strange this Akatsuki organization is. I really joined, but I didn't know what would happen. Just as he was about to enter the cave, a faint cold sound from behind made him freeze in place. Biliuhu, where do you want to go? Zionan stared coldly at his moving back. Biliuhu swallowed and turned around cautiously. I suddenly remembered that I still have an experiment that I haven't completed yet. You trying to escape? No, it's okay if you don't. As you can see, we are the Akatsuki organization, and we are here to recruit you to join the organization. Can I refuse? Biliuhu asked weakly. Yes, as long as you can be like him and fight 100 times without dying. Conan glanced at hidden in the sack out of the corner of his eye. Dimly lit cave. Pain of heaven stood above the head of the heretic demon, scanning the members of the organization standing on his fingertips. Finally showed a satisfied look. This time, the members standing at the fingertips of the heretic demon statue were finally almost full. Zio's strength has achieved a leap. With the injection of new blood, it is time for Akatsuki to start new activities. Everyone, welcome to join Akatsuki. Chiandao. Pain's purple rippling eyes scanned the surroundings with a hint of coercion. The ninjas on the fingertips of the heretic golem have different faces. They have gathered in the Akatsuki organization for various reasons, and only they know their true inner thoughts. Zio Nan, will you hand out the organization's uniforms? Xianan held a stack of uniforms in her hands and distributed them with paper wings on her back. This is the red cloud robe of the Akatsuki organization. It represents Akatsuki's identity. Remember, you cannot take it off at any time. Pain reminded him seriously, but no one knows whether the members listened. Belly Liu, who glanced around at the other members. If we can collect 5 bloody corpses with the help of the organization, we might be able to reach the highest level of Oni Luomen's art. His eyes lit up. The heart beats loudly. He even forgot that he was forced to join the organization. Beside him, Shen Nan looked at every member of the organization with cryptic eyes. Among the members recruited by Xiao Gang, he is the most low-key. Akatsuki's purpose coincides with his. The Zero Tail requires a huge chakra charge. If he can secretly split a part of it while Akatsuki is capturing the tailed beast, Shenin thought this, but there was no expression change on his face. This is Akatsuki's ring, and it is also the medium through which Akatsuki communicates. Chiandao. Pain waved his hand, and each ring flew into the hands of the corresponding member. After doing all this, Chiandao Pain groaned. It's time to release Akatsuki's first mission. Everyone held their breath, waiting for Pain's next order. What will be the first mission of joining the Akatsuki organization? Kisame and the others had expectations in their hearts. Secretly transporting rice from the country of fire back to the country of rain. Chiandao Pain said in a deep voice. The cave fell into dead silence. Hidden laughed uncontrollably. Ha ha ha. Is it really an organization that carries rice? The first task is to carry rice. Chapter 117 Naruto's Fate. You can only be led by yourself. Konoha Back Mountain. A gap was opened in the cliff by manpower, connecting it to a nearby lake. The rapid water fell from a high place. Naruto took off his upper body clothes, closed his eyes and sat cross-legged, gritted his teeth, and endured the impact of the water from top to bottom. Hang in there, Naruto. When Naruto was about to bear it no longer, Namikaze Mirai's encouragement sounded in his ears, and he found strength from nowhere, and continued to grit his teeth and persevere. My uncle is watching me, and I can't let him down. With this belief, Naruto persisted for another 2 minutes, before being washed away by the current. Namikaze Mirai, who was well prepared, hugged Naruto and showed a distressed look. Naruto, how are you feeling? Seeing Naruto's suffering appearance, as an uncle, he felt quite unbearable. But if Naruto is not allowed to undergo training and temper his body, and it is impossible to achieve the conditions for cultivating current push. Uncle, how long did I hold on this time? Naruto raised his eyes, and although he was tired, there was a hint of expectation in his voice. 7 minutes, 2 minutes longer than last time. That's great. Naruto was so excited that he almost jumped up. Every progress is a very happy thing for him. Don't be proud, Naruto. Your mother Kushina can easily break an entire wall with one punch. This kind of physical fitness is still not up to uncle's requirements for you. Namikaze Mirai smiled and rubbed Naruto's wet blonde hair. Is mom so powerful? Little Naruto's sapphire blue eyes widened. But, uncle, haven't you always said that my mother is a very gentle person? Easily smash the wall with one punch? Is this really something a mother can do? I always feel that it doesn't quite match my uncle's previous description. Forehead. Namikaze Mirai didn't know how to explain to Naruto. He had a headache when he thought of the figure with red hair flying messily like tentacles. Sister-in-law. She is so gentle. It's really violent when it comes to violence. But speaking of it, Naruto's persistence was much shorter than he expected. Namikaze Mirai's eyes stayed on Naruto's belly. It should be because of Kyuubi. In his prediction, Kyuubi was also a factor taken into consideration. If Kyuubi provides chakra, Naruto's training effect will be greatly improved. This guy clearly guessed what I was thinking, but he didn't provide chakra. Is it just for fun? Namikaze Mirai half smiled. It seems that it is necessary to let Kyuubi feel the beating from the strong magnetic field man. In the sealed space. Kyuubi was lying in a lazy posture in the iron cage with the sealing talisman on it. His tail was swinging casually, as if he was enjoying the leisure time very much. Is that kid going through a tough time outside? It's really interesting. It's a rare pastime to watch this little devil struggling to support himself. Kyuubi still clearly remembered the scene of Namikaze Mirai beating him violently last time. Being able to take revenge in this way is a pretty good choice for him. Suddenly, Kyuubi seemed to notice something. A pair of eyes instantly stiffened. Just then, Namikaze Mirai appeared in the sealed space at some point, stepped towards it, and gradually approached it. Damn it. Namikaze Mirai, what do you want to do? Kyuubi's posture instantly became alert. He arched his waist and bared his teeth, staring at Namikaze Mirai with a vigilant and offensive look. This man is the guy it hates the most besides Uchiha Madara. Even Uchiha Madara only controlled it with Jinjutsu. But if nothing goes wrong, just give him a good beating. Kyuubi, isn't it fun to watch my nephew suffer? Namikaze Mirai sneered. Damn it. Namikaze Mirai, do you really think I'm afraid of you? The furious Kyuubi jumped up and fiercely bit at Namikaze Mirai. Whoosh, with a flash of blue light, Namikaze Mirai disappeared. Kyuubi felt as if something terrible had hit him in the back of his head. Violent power erupted, and his upper body slammed to the ground. After a while. Outside world. Namikaze Mirai opened his eyes and released his hand on Naruto's lower abdomen. Smile. Try again, Naruto. So fast. Naruto was surprised. How many minutes had he only rested? Listen to uncle. Maybe there will be a surprise this time. Surprise. With a surprised expression, Naruto walked back to the waterfall and sat cross-legged, experiencing the wash of the water. Just when he could no longer hold on, bursts of warmth suddenly surged out of his lower abdomen, and his dry and tired body seemed to be nourished by sweet springs, regaining strength. Is this the surprise that uncle said? Naruto was shocked. There seemed to be a big furnace in his lower abdomen, and a steady stream of power was pouring out of it. Watching Naruto gradually enter into concentration, Namikaze Mirai's eyes gradually became serious. Naruto, uncle will teach you a training system that surpasses that of a ninja. A training system that transcends ninjas? Naruto, who was experiencing the impact of the waterfall, had his heart beating violently. He is almost 4 years old. That stinky guy Sasuke has started to learn chakra refining, and from time to time he will show off with a stinky face. It made him envious and jealous. Now his uncle wants to teach him a training system that surpasses that of a ninja. If you learn it, you can beat that stinky Sasuke. Naruto's heart was beating wildly with excitement. Nephew, concentrate and feel the vibration of every cell in your body. Namikaze Mirai placed his palm on the waterfall, and the water rushing down was contaminated by his power, lingering in blowups of lightning. Oops. Naruto, who was bearing the impact of the water flow, gritted his teeth in pain. Every cell in the body feels as if it is being pricked by sharp needle points under the impact of water flow, causing numbness and tingling. Namikaze Mirai held his breath and paid careful attention to the changes in Naruto's body. Current. Push. The initial stage of the magnetic field system. Rub cells with your will to generate bioelectric current. Compared with the ninja system, the magnetic field system is obviously a more advanced power system. Letting Naruto use the magnetic field system was the result of Namikaze Mirai's careful consideration. Naruto's body seemed to contain a special soul power, which was extremely dark. If he didn't have superhuman perception of magnetic fields and souls, perhaps he would have ignored them. This special power seemed to be influencing Naruto subtly. Leading him in unknown directions. Namikaze Mirai will never allow this kind of thing. My nephew should be the one to lead his own life. Why should he be affected by this kind of ghost? After the attempt to peel off failed, Namikaze decided to teach Naruto the training methods of the magnetic field system in the future. People with strong magnetic fields are people with extremely strong self-will. By leading Naruto to the path of the magnetic field, maybe we can break this unwarranted influence. Naruto, hold on. Your destiny can only be controlled by yourself. Naruto, who was almost fainting from the sting of electric current, heard Namikaze Mirai's pleading voice in his ears. Chapter 118 Magnetic Field Man. Naruto vs. Ashura. Destiny. These two ethereal words were like a veil blowing over Naruto's heart, causing ripples. Naruto, who was suffering from the stinging pain of electric current, suddenly calmed down. What is his fate? Naruto had never considered such a problem. This question was so profound that just thinking about it gave him a headache. Destiny. What is your destiny? Naruto started to think. Becoming a Hokage. No, becoming Hokage is his dream, not his destiny at all. So, become a great ninja like your uncle. Naruto thought for a while. Also gave up on this idea. Uncle is the goal that inspires you, the motivation and direction for your progress. It has nothing to do with fate. So, what is your destiny? Naruto thought hard, his brain aching, as if the power was overloaded. The word fate kept echoing in his mind like an echo point. No matter how much he thought, he couldn't find his own. The Rajura chakra hidden in his body seemed to sense a hint of threat and generated strength in an attempt to guide Naruto. The next second, Naruto's eyes shot open. Yes, it's precisely because you don't know what your destiny is that you have to grasp your destiny. My destiny. I can only make the decision myself. The water rushing down instantly swayed away, and Naruto jumped down in front of Namikaze Mirai, as if he had been reborn. Bright eyes. Uncle. Thank you. I have never felt as good as now. It's like the shackles on my body are suddenly lifted. He had found his own way of ninja. Or will take charge of your own destiny. Looking at Naruto like this, Namikaze Mirai showed a soft smile in his eyes and gently stroked his blonde hair. Uncle is very happy that you can find your own way. He will stand behind you at any time. The magnetic field system is more powerful than the ninja system. The only problem is that those with strong magnetic fields are those who have a strong will that far exceeds that of others, and they carry out this will to the end. Naruto has found his will and controls his own destiny. From this point of view, the negative effects of practicing the magnetic field system may be used in turn to neutralize the hidden influence of that special chakra. This is what Namikaze hopes for in the future. Your own destiny should be controlled by yourself. Thinking of this, a slight coldness appeared in his royal blue eyes. What kind of existence is secretly influencing Naruto? It can reside in Naruto's soul in the form of chakra and continuously exert an influence on Naruto. This method is simply unheard of. Definitely no ordinary ninja, no matter who wants to do anything to Naruto. They must first pass their own test. Namikaze Mirai's eyes are cold, pure and the spirit body of the Six Paths sage, who had been silently and secretly paying attention to the progress of the ninja world, seemed to have suddenly noticed something and showed a surprised expression. What's going on? This feeling, the immortal of Six Paths felt deeply uneasy in his heart. He didn't know the exact source of this feeling. Doesn't seem like a good thing. Vaguely, I guessed something. It related to the reincarnation of Asura and Indra. Asura and Indra are his two sons, who inherited his 6 paths of blood respectively. The feud between the two has lasted for thousands of years. Every time a reincarnated body appears, it will bring huge disaster to the ninja world. The immortal of 6 paths has been secretly paying attention to the reincarnation of the two. From a higher dimensional perspective, overlooking the grudges and hatred between the two people. As long as it doesn't involve Kaguya and Otsutsuki outside the starry sky, he will not interfere in the grudges between the two. Asura's reincarnation seems to have undergone some special changes. After careful perception. The uneasy 6 paths sage finally came to a conclusion. Asura's current reincarnated body is only 4 years old. Right. What kind of changes happened? Even Asura's chakra was affected. The immortal of 6 paths could not understand. The occurrence of this scene was beyond his understanding. In thousands of years of reincarnation, this has never happened. It seems that the reincarnation of this generation of Asuras will take a completely different path. After pondering for a long time, the immortal of 6 paths finally sighed. Give up the idea of intervening. Maybe it's a good change. The 1,000-year grudge between Asura and Indra may take on a completely new change due to this change. Like a butterfly effect, just when the immortal of 6 paths in the Pure Land fell into complex thoughts, one of the 3 holy places in the ninja world, Mount Myoki. The great toad immortal, wearing a bachelor's hat on his head and a huge oil character necklace on his chest, woke up from his sleep with a few drops of sweat on his forehead. What's going on? How could this happen? It's so terrifying to see such a dream. The 2 immortals Fukasaku Toad and Shima Toad next to them noticed something strange about the big toad immortal and looked surprised. Big toad immortal, did you dream of something? The great toad immortal often dreams, and often has some strange prophetic dreams. It's Just that it seems like it's the first time that he shows such a panicked look like today. Little Fukasaku, little Shima, I had an incredible dream this time. Recalling the content of the dream, the great Toad Immortal still looked frightened. The content of the dream was something he neither dared to think nor believe. No more, no more, he muttered dully as if he had lost his soul. It's gone. What's gone? Fukasaku, Toad and Shima Toad looked at each other, confused and confused. Old man, did the great Toad Immortal become a fool because of his dream? Why did he become like this? I don't know. I have never seen the great Toad Immortal like this. Big Toad Immortal, could you please explain it clearly? What is missing? The big Toad Fairy had a bitter look on his face. The child of destiny is gone. What? As soon as he finished speaking, the two Toad Immortals froze on the spot, as if struck by lightning. Destiny's child. That is the existence that Myomu Mountain Holy Land has been searching for. It can be said that the entire meaning of Myomu Mountain's existence is to find the child of destiny. Big Toad Sage, please don't talk nonsense. Little Jiraiya is looking for the child of destiny all over the world. If the child of destiny is really gone, something big will happen. That's right. In the dream prophecy just now, I can no longer see the existence of the child of destiny. Not only that, but the progress of the ninja world has also undergone changes that I can't understand. In short, the future of the ninja world may change. The two Toad Immortals were stunned. Chapter 119. What is a magnetic field? Orochimaru was shocked. Sasuke, let's have a hearty battle. In the Uchiha clan, in the courtyard of the clan leader's residence. Naruto Uzumaki assumed a fighting stance, with blazing eyes, and challenged Sasuke. Damn it, Naruto, don't think I'm afraid of you. Facing Naruto's challenge, Sasuke also refused to admit defeat, and responded with a stubborn look. When the two people's eyes met, there seemed to be lightning rising, exuding a strong fighting spirit. Itachi, who was standing a little further away, was watching this scene with a gentle smile on his face. Sasuke and Naruto are almost 4 years old. This age is a lively and active age, and fights between each other are becoming more and more frequent. As his elder brother and teacher, Itachi was happy to see this scene. The teacher's nephew and his brother can live in harmony, which is a very happy thing for Uchiha and the village, as well as for himself and Namikaze Mirai. Sasuke, I'm going to fuck you. Come on horseback. Sasuke got into position, eager to try. There was a hint of expectation in Itachi's dark eyes. Who has the upper hand between the two? Although Naruto is Namikaze's future nephew, he is more optimistic about Sasuke. As a disciple, he knew very well that Namikaze was very busy in the future and had no time to teach Naruto. Sasuke kept pestering him, wanting to be trained by him. A month ago, Sasuke had successfully refined chakra and began to try to learn the three-body technique. Having made such progress before entering the ninja school, Sasuke's talent as a ninja left a large number of his peers far behind. Naruto, who has not been trained, is already very powerful if he can remain undefeated in front of Sasuke now. Just as he was thinking this, the smile in his eyes suddenly froze. Naruto sprinted faster than he expected, bursting out with strength that was completely inconsistent with his thin body. He kicked the ground with his feet, almost like an afterimage, and arrived in front of Sasuke in an instant. So fast, before Sasuke could blink, he saw Naruto's fist rapidly enlarging in front of his eyes. Just when he had the idea of counterattack, the roaring wind of the fist hit his face, causing his hair to sway back, and he was stunned in place. Naruto's fist stopped in front of his nose, only a few centimeters away from the tip of his nose. Sasuke swallowed with a gulp, a drop of sweat falling from his forehead. How come before he could react, he had already lost. Many of the moves Naruto taught me, I never had time to use. Itachi, who was a little further away, had a look of surprise in his eyes. Is this speed really possible for a 4-year-old child? From his perspective, he could easily see that Naruto did not use any chakra and simply used his physical body to explode at a speed far beyond his age. Is it possible that Naruto has a talent far beyond ordinary people in terms of physical skills? Itachi's thoughts were confused, but how could this be possible? Haha, Sasuke, you lost. Do you want to do it again? Come. Again. Come again. I won't be afraid of you. Sasuke pursed his lips, looking stubborn. After a few seconds, Sasuke was pinned down by Naruto in a humiliating position, riding on the top of his body. He turned his right hand backwards, and if he moved it slightly, he would scream like a slaughtered pig. No more. No more. Stop now. Itachi, who was paying attention the whole time, looked shocked. Not only his speed, but also his strength is far beyond his age. Naruto changed. This was Itachi's most intuitive feeling. It was not about his physical quality, but that his whole person had undergone some fundamental change. Itachi wasn't sure what the reason for this change was, but he vaguely guessed that it was related to Namikaze Mirai. After being released by Naruto, Sasuke looked envious. Naruto, why did you suddenly become so powerful? Because I want to control my own destiny. Naruto smiled brightly. Sasuke, remember, you can only control your own destiny. This is what my uncle taught me. Sasuke looked at Naruto like this with confusion in his eyes. Want to control your own destiny. This was the first time that he had such an idea. Scientific Research Center Orochimaru, who was wearing a pure white scientific research uniform, was studying the human body on the autopsy bed. Since this corpse was sent by Namikaze Mirai, he has been studying it day and night, trying to decipher the power of the Rinnegan eye. The purple rippled eyes have been dug out and placed on a tray aside. The black rods all over his body were also removed, leaving only a corpse filled with bloody holes. It's incredible. Is this the power of the samurai? It can transform a corpse into such a powerful puppet. Since this pain is just a controlled corpse, then the other pain are also corpses. Is Tendo Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki organization who is aloof and claims to be a god, just a corpse? Orochimaru felt that his cognition had been greatly impacted. He had fought against Tendo Pain and still remembered his power. How could a being with such powerful power be just a corpse? So where are the ninjas who truly master the samurai, using the body of a puppet to lead the Akatsuki organization? Orochimaru suddenly became deeply surprised by the Akatsuki organization. If this guess is correct, the Akatsuki organization he saw is just the tip of the iceberg. In the future, you don't seem to be surprised by this kind of thing. Orochimaru looked at Namikaze Mirai next to him. The latter looked calm and looked at Pain on the autopsy bed without any ups and downs. A corpse has no biomagnetic field. Biomagnetic field. Orochimaru was confused when he heard this name he had never heard before. Yes, biological cell activities will produce microcurrents, and currents will produce magnetic fields. All biological life activities are closely related to magnetic fields. Orochimaru frowned, and Namikaze Mirai's words seemed to open a door for him. He has done quite a lot of research on human cells. Cell activation is a secret technique to enhance the body developed based on cells, but he is still blank in research on magnetic fields. Are the life activities of cells also related to magnetic fields? Orochimaru licked his lips, a strong interest appearing in his vertical pupils. At this moment, a lot of interesting ideas appeared in his mind, and he wanted to study them one by one. Namikaze Mirai took Orochimaru's look into his eyes. With Orochimaru's talent, he might be able to delve into something interesting. After knowing the secrets of magnetic fields in the body, Naruto has taken the lead in entering the magnetic field system. The body has been transformed by a magnetic field and has the power of a bear, the speed of a leopard, and the eyes of an eagle. Ninjas are all fragile, with high attack power and weak body. With this unique body alone, Naruto has surpassed most ninjas. Orochimaru, can he discover the secret of the power of the magnetic field? Deep expectations emerged in Namikaze Mirai's heart. Chapter 120 The Land of Fire, the Holy Land of Ninja World. How much is this rice per pound? 300 taels per pound. Duo Sheo. In the underground black market of the Land of Fire, Kakuzu, who covered his body tightly, looked at the black market rice vendor across the street with a stunned expression. 300 taels per pound. Why don't you go and rob? Kakuzu suppressed his anger. Is your rice here made of gold? Or is the rice grain made of gold? 300 taels? What a joke. 300 taels per pound of rice. 3,000 taels for 10 pounds. 30,000 for 100 pounds. Rounded to 100 million. How many bounties does he have to kill to earn the money for this rice? You can buy it or not. Where can you get rice now? This is all hybrid rice from the experimental field, much more precious than ordinary rice. The rice vendor looked at Kakuzu with disdain, his tone quite impatient. Kakuzu's body was wrapped tightly in a black robe. Even his face was covered, revealing only a pair of green eyes. For a moment, he had the idea of tearing off the black robe. If this vendor knew that the ninja he had angered was an immortal ninja with a great reputation in the underground black market, he might be scared to death. But Kakuzu didn't do it in the end. He couldn't afford to lose this person. Kakuzu had fought with Hashirama Senju in the past. If his colleagues in the black market found out that he was buying rice, wouldn't he lose face? The damn leader actually asked me to do such a thing. Kakuzu was quite dissatisfied with the decision of Tendo Pain. But who made the rain country seriously short of rice now? Since Namikaze Mirai blocked the import of rice from the rain country, the rice market in the rain country has become more and more chaotic. The price of rice has soared, and it is difficult to find a rice. Every day, I don't know how many civilians fight for food, and the rice is already stained with blood. In order to slow down this phenomenon, the self-proclaimed god Pain had to send them to buy rice from the black market and secretly transport it back to the rain country. Kakuzu thought about resisting, but when he thought of the leader's godlike power, he finally gave up. Kakuzu could only vent his resentment on Namikaze Mirai. If that guy hadn't blocked the rice market, it wouldn't have turned out like this. Just when Kakuzu was in a state of indignation, a piece of news on the TV hanging on the wall of the black market attracted his attention. The experimental field of the Fire Country has a bumper harvest. The hybrid rice yield has reached a new historical high. Yamato, on the TV, was dressed in formal clothes and was energetically introducing Konoha's hybrid rice. The scene turned, and the experimental field of the Fire Country was being harvested. The endless golden rice ears in the field were being harvested in an orderly manner by rows of machines and continuously put into sacks. The bulging rice bags were piled up into mountains, and from a distance, they looked like a rich hillside. As you can see, Konoha now controls the most abundant food industry in the ninja world. According to calculations, the rice grown in the Land of Fire can supply 70% of the population in the ninja world every year. Yamato's proud voice spread outside the TV. Countless residents in the Land of Fire, the Land of Grass, and even the Land of Rain were sitting in front of the TV, listening to his speech. In this world, there are still many people who are not getting enough food and are suffering from hunger. Konoha, which has abundant food resources, upholds the spirit of humanitarianism and strives to make all those who are suffering from hunger in the ninja world eat enough. Yamato, dressed in formal clothes, spread his hands and spoke with emotion. If you are not getting enough food, come to the Land of Fire. If you are suffering from hunger, come to the Land of Fire. If you want a better life, come to the Land of Fire. Many people who were watching TV, especially the residents of Konoha, listened to the impassioned voice and suddenly felt that their blood was boiling and their hearts were surging. In the slums of the Land of Rain, many residents who were watching Yamato's speech showed a trace of desire in their eyes. Gurgle. My stomach made a sound like it was on strike. The Land of Rain is too poor. With years of war, having enough food has become a luxury. As long as we reach that place, will we be able to have enough food? Many residents looked at their old leaky slum houses and the skinny children leaning beside them, and fell into deep entanglement. On the one hand, pain has been smearing the Land of Fire. On the other hand, it is the real possibility of having enough food. How to choose. The hidden grass village. In the shabby tent, a red-haired woman with a thin face and ragged clothes was sticking to the gap in the tent, staring at the TV in the opposite tent. Damn. Konoha. What tricks are you thinking of again? Where can't you have enough food? Why go to Konoha? The two grass ninjas watching TV cursed angrily, not noticing the woman who was peeking behind the crack in the wall. Although she was only in her 20s, the woman looked haggard and looked nothing like her age. Her arms were covered with dense bite marks, which looked shocking. Eat enough, a better life. Yamato's speech on TV attracted her attention. and her eyes seemed to shine. Aren't these two things what she wanted? But in this cruel ninja world, even survival has become a problem, and eating enough is even more of a fantasy. Just because her blood contains special healing power, she was kept in captivity by the grass ninjas, and different grass ninjas took turns sucking her blood every day, and her life was even worse than that of livestock. Uzumaki Karen couldn't bear to look at the girl sleeping on the bed. Karen, her daughter, was only 4 years old. When she grows up, with the same physique, she will become an outlet for these beasts, right? There was deep struggle in Uzumaki Kwei's eyes. Want to escape to the land of fire. At least, let Xiang Phosphorus escape the same fate. The land of fire. Konoha. After finishing his speech in front of the camera, Yamato walked down the stand and came to Namikaze Mirai, asking expectantly, "Teacher, am I doing okay?" "Very nice." Namikaze Mirai smiled. It was his idea to spread the news that Konoha was absorbing refugees through television. Tsunade, it's your turn. Namikaze Mirai looked at Tsunade beside him. New. Tsunade pouted. Being on TV and being in the limelight really didn't suit her character. However, as the chairman of the Red Cross Relief Society, my job still needs to be completed. As a result, those residents who were hesitating in front of the TV after watching Yamato's speech were shocked when they saw a familiar face appear on the TV again. Tsunade compared to Yamato, who has only recently become famous. Tsunade, the princess of the land of fire, the master of the ninja world, and one of the three ninjas, is obviously more widely known. As soon as it appeared, it attracted most of the attention. Tsunade on the TV took a deep breath. "Those who are suffering, the country of fire will become your new home. I, Tsunade, as the chairman of the Konoha Red Cross Relief Society, swear that I will lead you in suffering to a better life." Chapter 121 Orochimaru's expectations. Namikaze will create a new system in the future. The statement issued by Konoha was like a storm, causing shock in the ninja world. A large number of hungry and distressed civilians watched the impassioned speeches on TV, with hope shining in their eyes. Someone makes a decision. Someone is in trouble. The shadows of the 4 major ninja villages are also paying attention to the progress of this scene. What exactly does Konoha want to do? In the ugly soil shadow room that was as dusty as a cone, Inoki looked at the content playing on the TV and felt that his head hurt again. Konoha has been taking too many actions recently. No. In other words, ever since Namikaze Mirai became Hokage, Konoha has never been less active. First it was hybrid rice, and now what kind of humanitarian aid is coming? Am I really too old to keep up with the times? Inoki doesn't want to accept old age. But it's really impossible not to accept old age. Ever since Namikaze Mirai became Hokage, he couldn't understand the progress of the ninja world. If this progress continues, he won't be surprised, even if one day Konoha announces that the daimyo will be killed. There are so many talents in Konoha. Even the wooden ninja who developed hybrid rice was born. When will our Iwagakure village have such a genius? Inoki was going crazy with envy. The Ninetales rebellion lost a young and dazzling yellow flash 4th generation. How long has it been? A more dazzling, more charismatic 5th generation blue flash took over, even creating a new era in the ninja world. With Konoha's terrifying background, Inoki wouldn't be surprised even if a black flash of light appeared tomorrow. When he thought of Deidara, whom he had high hopes for, Inoki was so angry that his teeth almost broke. That idiot Deidara. You idiot. You obviously have a lot of talent, but you think about explosions all day long. Recently, a new method of throwing explosive clay into the toilet has even been developed. Just when he hates iron for not becoming steel. Boom. Suddenly there was an explosion outside at Sachikage. Deidara, Inoki, who was getting angry, stood up suddenly and slapped the table. Click. The crisp sound of bone cracking came from the waist. Ouch. Mild waist, almost. At the same time, AI, the 4th Hokage in Kumogakure village, was staring at Konoha's statement on the TV with red eyes. Konoha. The damn Konoha. What bad idea are you planning again? He doesn't have the slightest fondness for Konoha or Naruto. Namikaze Mirai, the 5th Hokage of Konoha, almost stepped on the Kumogakure village and rose to power. In order to redeem Kiribi, he paid a heavy price, and the village has not recovered yet. Immediately, give the order. Send ninjas to keep an eye on the residents of the Kingdom of Thunder. I don't want there to be traitors here who have fled to the Kingdom of Fire. Almost as if gritting his teeth, AI issued this order. He has no control over other countries, but within the Kingdom of Thunder, once a traitor is found who has fled to the Kingdom of Fire, he will kill them directly. Within the Kingdom of Rain Point in a hidden underground space somewhere, Nagato fell into a long silence as he received the content transmitted from Pain's 6 paths going to the Land of Fire will make you fall. This trick played by Konoha is too insidious, judging from the information secretly investigated by UI in Village. Since this statement was issued, some residents of the country of Rain who are struggling to make ends meet are struggling to relocate to the country of Fire Point. For these people who have been tortured by war all year round, being able to have a full stomach and no longer go hungry is more attractive than anything else. It's really vicious. If this continues, Pain's prestige will continue to be lost. Nagato looked quite ugly. The last time he suffered a big loss at the hands of Namikaze Mirai. The video of carrying rice was captured by a hidden photographer and broadcast live to the entire ninja world. Many citizens of the Kingdom of Rain also saw that scene. Fortunately, Pain's majesty still remained. But this time things are different. Mirai Namikaze is so vicious, he actually distributed rice to the victims of the Land of Rain. Under such temptation, as long as one person sets a precedent, secretly go to the Land of Fire. Those who are in a state of vacillation will let go of their psychological burden and continue to flow into the Kingdom of Fire. What kind of god is a god who cannot even be defended by the citizens of the Land of Rain? Nagato's hatred for Konoha rose to the extreme. Konoha. Orochimaru looked at the humanitarian relief announcement played on the TV, confusion appearing in his vertical pupils. What are your plans for the future with this move? Those who can be attracted by such conditions are basically refugees. What value can these refugees have? As for humanitarianism and wording like that, Orochimaru would naturally not believe it. Orochimaru, have you read the complete map of the Land of Fire? Faced with Orochimaru's doubts, Namikaze Mirai did not reply directly, but smiled slightly. The territory of the Fire Nation. Orochimaru frowned. The country of Fire has a large territory, and its economic center of gravity is basically in the central and eastern parts. Although the western part has fertile land, it has not been developed due to its remote terrain. Human resources are resources. Attracting enough manpower to carry out the development of the western region will bring huge value. Western development. Orochimaru took a breath. Is this what you think? The future. Orochimaru listened. His expression gradually became serious, and he asked tentatively, in the future, I probably understand what you mean, but does the daimyo agree to such a thing? Daimyo, the most noble person in the Fire Nation, is also the master of the Fire Nation. For Hokage from the ninja village to do such a thing, he has undoubtedly gone beyond his limits. If the daimyo knew about it, given Orochimaru's understanding of the daimyo, I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble. Orochimaru, don't you think things like daimyo are superfluous? Namikaze looked at him with a smile. Although he was smiling, there was a hint of deep meaning in his eyes. A famous name, superfluous, in the future. Do you want to? Orochimaru held his breath. The one country one village system was created by the ninja god who pacified the troubled times of the warring states. Does Namikaze Mirai want to break this system? I just don't understand. A noble like the daimyo without any military weapons can actually dominate the ninja village. Sure enough, in the future, your vision and thinking will be completely different from those of ordinary ninjas. Orochimaru looked deeply at Namikaze Mirai. To be able to say such treacherous words easily is probably only Namikaze Mirai who can do it, right? What? Orochimaru, do you have any idea to participate? Namikaze Mirai looked at him with a smile. Of course, I'm also looking forward to it. What kind of new era will you create in the future? Orochimaru's eyes were filled with anticipation. He is not a pedantic person like Sarutobi Hiruzen. He is blindly closed and conservative, does not know how to innovate, and will only completely block his own vision. What an honor it was for him to be able to witness the birth of a new era and witness this wind blowing into the ninja world. Senju Hashirama created the one country one village system. What kind of system will Namikaze create in the future? Chapter 122 World Police Uchiha A few days after Konoha issued the statement, after a fierce ideological struggle, some poor refugees embarked on a journey to the land of Fire. If you stay in the same place, hungry and full every day, you will die in the wilderness at some point. Heading to the Fire Nation, at least, had some hope of change. With this idea in mind, refugees from the surrounding areas of the Fire Country, such as the country of grass, the country of fields, and the country of Sichuan, began to flow into the country of Fire. Konoha opened 3 gates on the border. To accept the influx of refugees, there are dedicated ninjas on the path to maintain order and protect the safety of these people. The whole process was broadcast to thousands of households through cameras. A resident in front of the TV saw these ragged refugees, guided by the Konoha ninjas, forming a long line and arriving at the extradition town. The tempting meat porridge is cooked in a steaming iron pot and is continuously distributed to each refugee. Holding the bowl of meat porridge, he raised his head and finished the meal in a slurping manner. He was still not satisfied and licked off the remaining rice grains in the bowl with his tongue, looking happy and satisfied. Residents outside the TV screen were attracted by this scene. They saw hope in the eyes of those refugees, hope like never before, like flowers blooming in dirty ruins, beautiful and holy. This scene attracted more refugees, who flocked to the Fire Country. There was passion in their eyes. Where to point? As long as you can get there, you can usher in a new life, the land of rain. Nagato's expression was not very good. The scene broadcast on TV in Konoha was also transmitted to the land of rain. He repeatedly issued orders to prohibit the residents of the Kingdom of Rain from watching, but in private, a large number of residents disobeyed his orders. Nagato, 13 households have moved out today. Zianan stood aside, with complex emotions in her tone. Where will these residents who left the land of rain go? You can figure it out with your toes. Fire Nation. There is no doubt that they are all heading to the land of fire. Nagato remained silent. The numbers reported by Zianan were statistics collected by Uninja. The Rain Tiger Freedom Technique monitors the data through the heavy rain covering the Rain Kingdom. More data than Zianan. Do you want to tell Zianan this cruel truth? Nagato couldn't bear it and couldn't speak. The blonde figure appeared in his mind, and Nagato's hatred for Namikaze Mirai became a little stronger. Everything is thanks to that person. Use rice to gather your own people. What a cruel trick. The inhabitants of the land of rain abandoned their gods and fled to the land of fire. What majesty does he have as a god? If this continues, I'm afraid that his rule in the kingdom of rain will be shaken. Kill those who defected. Nagato was confused. This may be able to suppress it in the short term, but in the long run, it will only shake the hearts of the people in the kingdom of rain even more. How to do? Koin village. The camp was dark and cramped, and the air was filled with an unpleasant smell that made people frown. The thin Uzumaki Kwe was pressed against the wall, looking through a thumb-thick gap at what was playing on the TV next door with extremely longing eyes. The Fire Nation opens its doors to accept refugees in the towns. A large number of refugees were contentedly drinking meat porridge, talking about their ideals of life, and their eyes were shining. A new life. A new life in dreams. Uzumaki Kwe's heart was beating loudly. That crack in the wall as thick as a thumb seemed to be her only way to peek into her new life. Mom, what are you doing? The confused voice coming from behind made the snooping Uzumaki Aoi tremble and turned her head. It was a skinny girl. Uzumaki, her daughter. Due to long-term malnutrition, his face was sallow, and his body was shorter than his peers. The tip of Uzumaki Kua's nose felt sour. Absolutely, I cannot let my daughter experience the same misfortune again. Her eyes gradually became firm. It seems a decision has been made. It was getting dark, and Koin village, which was noisy during the day, became quiet with the arrival of night. In the dilapidated tent, a pair of eyes poked out from the crack in the door, carefully observing the surroundings. After confirming that no one was around, he opened the door and gently pulled his daughter out. Uzumaki Kui was only carrying a small package, which contained the necessary food and water. If she saved some food, it should be enough for her and Koko to get to the land of fire. Be quiet and don't make any noise. Holding her daughter's shoulders. Uzumaki Kwe reminded her in an extremely serious tone. Zio covered her mouth and nodded, not letting herself make a sound before setting off. My mother had warned me many times about the importance of escaping. Uzumaki Zyanki was already familiar with the environment of Konoha village. She chose the path out of the village with the fewest people. If she walked along this road, she could leave Konoha village. During the whole process, she didn't even dare to breathe loudly, and Xiang Phosphorus, who was holding her hand, also didn't dare to make a sound. As long as there is a slight movement around them, they will stop nervously and wait for calm before moving on. Finally, the outline of the gate of Konoha village appeared in view. Uzumaki Kwe's eyes welled up with joy. Very good, as long as you can get over there, you can start a new life. Damn it, bitch. Where do you want to go? The shouts and curses coming from the wall made Uzumaki Kanaji turn pale. The next day. Konoha. Namikaze Mirai, who had just arrived at the Hokage's room and was about to start a new day's work, received information about Konoha scouts in the land of grass. The intelligence recorded that around 11:30 last night, a ninja in Kusakure village attempted to defect and was discovered by the Kusakunin stationed on the wall. After investigation, it was found that the woman who wanted to leave Kusakure village was from the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan. Namikaze Mirai's pupils dilated. His sister-in-law Kushina is from the Uzumaki clan. Nephew Naruto also inherited the Uzumaki surname. His eyes gradually became colder, and Namikaze Mirai read the information scroll completely, roughly understanding what happened. There is a Uzumaki clan woman in captivity in Kusakure village. This woman is suspected to have a several-year-old daughter. Last night, the Uzumaki woman prepared to abscond, but was unfortunately discovered. This scene was discovered by Konoha scouts who were sneaking near Kusagakure village and sent the information back. The Uzumaki clan. Very good. When did my sister-in-law's clan fall and be imprisoned by Kusakure village? My sister-in-law, Uzumaki Kushina, always hoped to find other clan members during her lifetime. Now I finally got the news about the Uzumaki clan, but in this way. Although Namikaze Mirai's eyes were smiling, there was a chill in that smile that made people tremble. Anyone who knows him knows this is a sign that he is about to become angry. Somebody, come, call Uchiha Shisu. Yes, Namikaze Mirai's eyes were cold. Uchiha Shisu was his appointed head of the Uchiha peacekeeping department. Since Kusagakure has the courage to imprison the Uzumaki clan, let them bear the wrath of the peacekeeping department. Let Kusagakure have a taste of Uchiha's terror. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123. Cuneiform Susan? Bitch. Want to escape? How could we, Kayan village, be sorry for you? Beat her to death. This ungrateful bitch deserves to be beaten to death. A grass ninja kicked out and kicked the thin Uzumaki Kwe away. The latter hit his forehead on the stone slab and bled. But the group of grass ninjas were not satisfied and kicked Uzumaki Kwe hard in the abdomen. The kick made her body convulse and she curled up in a ball in severe pain. Beat her to death. Beat her to death. The grass ninja who were watching were filled with blood and cursed angrily. The leader stepped on Uzumaki Kanaji's head with his right foot, pressing down his entire body. You, mother and daughter fled to Konoha village. I ordered you to be taken in. I gave you food, clothes, and the best treatment. You don't know how to be grateful at all. Uzumaki Kwe, who was trampled under his feet, just curled up and protected her upper body with her thin arms full of bite marks, saying nothing. Her daughter was hiding under the table in the tent, covering her mouth with her hands in horror and watching the scene with tears in her eyes. If she resisted in any way, these beasts might vent their anger on her daughter. For the sake of her daughter, she must and must not resist. Bitch. You bitch. How can I be so sorry to you in Konoha village? The leader of Kusagakure village, gradually stepped on Uzumaki Kwe's head with a ferocious look on his face. Uzumaki Kanaji's escape made him very angry. Eat them, live in them, just suck their blood occasionally. This bitch actually wants to run away with her daughter. Where in the world can such a good thing happen? Suddenly, he seemed to remember something. A sneer formed on his lips. You don't want to escape to the land of fire, do you? Haha. When the Uzumaki kingdom was destroyed, Konoha watched helplessly. Do you still expect them to take you in? The leader's ridicule was like a sharp dagger piercing Uzumaki Kwe's heart, making her eyes dim for a moment. Yes. When the kingdom of Whirlpool was destroyed, Konoha, as an ally, just watched helplessly and did not send ninjas for help. Even if he escapes to the fire country, what's the use? Will they really accept themselves? Thinking like this, Uzumaki Kwe's heart gradually became silent, like a walking corpse, lying on the ground motionless, just when she was completely desperate. First leader. Oh no, there are ninjas attacking the village. A grass ninja rushed to report in a panic. Attack the village? What a joke. The leader and the surrounding grass ninjas looked shocked. This was the Grass Hidden Village, the most powerful ninja village in the entire kingdom of grass except for the 5 major ninja villages. Who would have the guts to attack them? Just when they were surprised, boom. Suddenly, a huge roar came from the gate of Konoha village in the distance, followed by a burst of flames, swallowing up the walls and gate together. Fire escape. These grass ninjas opened their mouths blankly. How could there be such a strong fire escape? In the few seconds they were stunned. The sounds of killing, shouts, and screams of Kusakure echoed in Kusakure village. A large number of unfamiliar ninjas rushed over and surrounded them, wearing uniforms of black and brown uniforms. When they saw each other's eyes, the pupils of these grass ninjas suddenly shrank. Sharingan. All of them are scarlet Sharingan, wrapped in violent anger, and the lowest one among them is a double Magatama. We are the Uchiha peacekeeping department. Where is your leader? The leader, Uchiha Shisu, glanced at the surrounding grass ninjas stared at by this group of pink-eyed people. The grass ninjas who were torturing Uzumaki Kanaji a second ago behaved like little chickens, shrinking their necks and not daring to speak. There was no other way, so the leader bit the bullet and spoke. I am the Kusage of Kusagakure village. Our Kusagakure village has probably never offended the Uchiha clan, right? In just a few seconds, the leader had already thought about all the things that had happened to Uchiha in his life. You don't remember where you offended Uchiha at all? Grass. Shadow? Can the leader of a small hidden village be called a shadow? Uchiha. Shisu sneered at the name Kusukage. The name of Kage has always been held by only the 5 great ninja villages. It is arrogant enough for a small grass hidden village to claim the name of Shadow. Koang's expression was extremely ugly. He has tried his best to give in. I didn't expect Shisu to be so disrespectful. He noticed that the grass ninja around him had begun to whisper. If he continued to give in, where would he lose his face as a leader? This is Kusagakure village. As Konoha ninjas, you broke in without permission. Could it be that you want to start a war? Uchiha. Shisu ignored him completely, and his eyes searched around, finally settling on the red-haired woman curled up on the ground not far away. Through the dirty cloth, the woman's bruised body could be seen. Blood was bleeding from her forehead, turning half of her face red. Shisu crouched next to the woman and asked in a soft voice, May I have your name? Uzumaki. Uzumaki Kui. Swirl. Really, Lord Hokage asked them to take them back, and the Uzumaki woman was here. We are ninjas of Konoha. Are you willing to come back to Konoha with us? Shisu pointed to the forehead protector on his forehead, showing a gentle smile, and his iconic dumpling nose made his current appearance even more friendly. Konoha, seeing the familiar swirling patterns on Shisu's forehead protector, Uzumaki Kwe's eyes showed complicated emotions. She nodded. I also have a daughter, and I want to take her with me. Yes, no matter how many of you there are. Shisu helped Uzumaki Kwe stand up. When he saw the shocking scars on the other person's body, his pupils shrank, and he felt shocked in his heart. It's unimaginable how much pain this woman endured. Xiang Phosphorus, who was hiding under the table, came out and threw himself into the woman's arms. Mother, it's It for my daughter. The tip of Shisu's nose felt a little sour. While he sympathized with the woman, he felt proud in his heart. This is the responsibility of the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. Protecting these people who are being oppressed and maintaining the peace of the shinobi world is a bounden duty. That makes Shisu proud and proud. It made him seem to have found the meaning of life. Just when Shisu was about to help the woman leave. Angry curses sounded from behind. Damn it. This woman is from Konoha village. You can't take her away. The leader of Kusakure village rushed towards him, holding a kunai in his hand and about to stab him. Haha, I have imprisoned a member of the Uzumaki clan and tortured her like this. I haven't settled this debt with you yet. 3. Jet black Nagatama spin quickly, outlining the pattern of shuriken's rich emerald green chakra erupted from Shisu's body, covering his body and forming a huge emerald green skeleton. Clang. The kunai of the leader of Kusagakure stabbed Susanoo, causing a burst of sparks without leaving any trace. The grass ninja around was stunned at this scene. Giant? It's stupid to stab Susan with a kunai. With disdain in his heart, Shisu's power surged, and the huge Susanoo skeleton changed again. The emerald green armor appeared from scratch, and the Karasentengu armor buckled upside down from bottom to top. The emerald green drill bit of his right fist hit the leader, who was still dazed. In the horrified eyes of the surrounding grass ninja. Boom. Along with the terrifying vibrations, the entire Konoha village seemed to be hit by a meteorite. The huge impact swallowed up the houses and the entire path, and the dust billowed up. Let's leave. After the blow was over, Shisu carried the woman beside him and disappeared with a whoosh. The Uchiha people around him immediately followed. Cough. Cough. The turbulent dust gradually subsided, revealing a group of grass ninjas who had been completely frightened. Where is the leader? Where is the leader? Quick, find the leader. These grass ninjas were digging through the ruins like crazy. If something happens to the leader, they will be in big trouble. Found it. A grass ninja let out a cry of surprise. The other Kusanagi gathered around and worked together to remove the rubble that was pressing down on the leader. Soon, the smiles on their faces froze. Found it, but not completely found it. The leader's lower body was empty. It's over. The leader is dead. Go find the daimyo-sama quickly. Chapter 124 Uzumaki House Konoha. Carried by Shisu, Uzumaki Karen felt a sense of security she had never felt before. That was a feeling she had never experienced in her life. The country of Whirlpool was destroyed, and Karen was born. She lived in Kusagakure village. Just recalling the past made Uzumaki Karen feel better now. Is it all finally over? Uzumaki Karen's thoughts were immersed in indescribable emotions. It's coming. Uchiha Shisu made a gentle voice. Uzumaki Karen looked up, and at the end of her vision, the outline of a huge village appeared. Konoha. Inevitably, she felt uneasy. What kind of life will she have? After arriving in Konoha, Uzumaki Karen didn't know if her decision was right. The country of Whirlpool was once an ally of Konoha, but when it was threatened with destruction, it did not wait for Konoha's rescue. What do you think of Konoha? Is it a complaint or expectation? All the fantasies, worries, concerns, like unspeakable silk, entangled in her mind. Are they? The Uchiha Peacekeeping Division. The ninja stationed on the wall of Konoha looked at Shisu and the Uchiha behind him with shocked eyes. That's right. This uniform is definitely the Uchiha Peacekeeping Division. The eyes were filled with reverence for a moment. The Peacekeeping Division is the only department in Konoha that is completely open to the outside world. Maintaining peace in the ninja world is such a noble profession. Feeling the reverent gazes of the stationed ninjas, these Uchiha instantly felt a strong sense of pride in their hearts. This feeling of being respected is so cool. When they were in the guard division in the past, although some villagers were in awe of them because of their status, compared with this kind of respect from the heart, it was a completely different feeling. Maintaining peace in the ninja world, this kind of thing is worthy of Uchiha to do. Shisu, who entered Konoha village, ran directly to the Konoha hospital. Uzumaki Karen's injuries were not light, and she had been traveling all night. The most urgent thing was to give her a full body physical examination. Half an hour later, Konoha hospital. Uzumaki Karaoke was lying on the bed, with the fourth tube inserted into the vein on the back of her hand slowly delivering medicine. Uzumaki Karaoke looked at the pure white ceiling, and suddenly felt that everything was as unreal as a dream. Yesterday, she was still in the Kusagakure village enduring the torture of the Kusagakure ninja. Now she is in a completely different environment. Outside the ward, a strange voice came. How is she? Hokage-sama. Fortunately she was sent in time. The injured person is severely anemic, has multiple injuries on the body, and has long-term malnutrition. It is estimated that it will take a long time to recover. Hokage-sama? Uzumaki Karaoke on the bed felt nervous. Although she was not a ninja from the 5 major villages, she also knew that only the leaders of the 5 major villages could be named Kage. As the person outside the 5th generation Hokage of Konoha. What is he doing here? While she was nervous, the door of the ward was pushed open. What caught Uzumaki Karaoke's eyes was a brilliant golden hair. Hokage, Hokage. Her voice trembled with nervousness. Uzumaki Karin, who was leaning on her side, was at a loss when she saw her mother was so nervous, and her little hands were at a loss as to where to put. Don't be nervous, Namikaze Mirai spoke in a gentle tone. Your body needs to rest for a while, and someone will come to take care of your daily life. This is Konoha, and from today on, you are safe. Hearing this, Uzumaki Karin's eyes seemed to be hit by something. Her nose felt sour, and tears could not help but flow from her eyes after explaining. Namikaze Mirai left. He had other things to do. Little Karin, sitting in front of the bed, looked at her mother with tears streaming down her face, with a confused look. Mom, why are you crying? Uzumaki Karin wiped away her tears. Mom, I'm happy. After leaving Konoha Hospital, Namikaze Mirai did not return to the Hokage room, but went straight to Konoha TV station. The previous statements issued by Konoha were all filmed here. Hokage-sama, the ninja in charge of filming, saluted respectfully to Namikaze Mirai. I plan to film a statement. The ninja was slightly startled. Okay, I'll go find Yamato-sama and Tsunade-sama right away. Yamato is the Minister of Agriculture and the pioneer of hybrid rice, and Tsunade is a president of the Red Cross these days. The statements issued by Konoha are basically filmed by these two people. No need. I'll come in person this time. The ninja who was about to invite Yamato and Tsunade was stunned. There was a look of surprise in his eyes. The Hokage is going to issue a statement in person. This has never happened before. Okay, I'll prepare it right away. The photographer ninja who reacted was full of energy. Hokage-sama was the first to film a statement. No matter what, it must be the best. 10 minutes later, residents of the land of fire, the land of rivers, the land of grass, the land of earth, and other surrounding countries who were watching TV programs suddenly saw a statement inserted. At first, most people didn't take it seriously. Until I saw the Hokage hat he was wearing, and the divine robe that looked like flames burning on a white forge. I, Namikaze Mirai, am the 5th Hokage of Konoha. The 5th Hokage? The person sitting in front of the TV holds his breath. Naruto, this is the 5th Hokage. What kind of statement will this Hokage make? In such anticipation, the sound from the TV set spread. The voice is soft. Members of the Uzumaki clan who are wandering outside, no matter what sufferings you are experiencing now, or what kind of life you are living, come to Konoha. Konoha will accept you, provide you with a new life. The Uzumaki clan wandering in the ninja world. Come to Konoha. Konoha will become your new home. Konoha hospital. On the hospital bed, Uzumaki Kwe looked at the statement played on the TV on the wall, tears welling up in her eyes and rolling down. In the dilapidated slums of Kawakuchi, the red-haired woman sitting in front of an old TV seemed to have tears in her eyes. The kingdom of thunder, the kingdom of earth, the kingdom of grass. The Uzumaki clan wandering throughout the ninja world fell into complicated emotions at the same time after seeing this statement. The land of rain. Dark and damp underground space. Nagato looked at the picture transmitted back from Pain's 6 paths. His teeth clenched, and his face was twisted in an extremely ugly way. Naruto, that the 5th Hokage had taken away the civilians of the Rain Country wasn't done. Yet are the survivors of the Uzumaki clan also being targeted now? Nagato's rippling purple eyes burst out with deep hatred. If Konoha really cared about the Uzumaki clan, why didn't they save the Uzumaki clan when they were destroyed? Why do you have to be so hypocritical? Conspiracy. It must be a conspiracy. Damn. Konoha. You actually put your hands on my compatriots. Chapter 125. I want to kill the big name. Who agrees? Who objects? Daimyo, you must make a decision for us. The Daimyo of Grass Country. Several grass ninjas cried and complained about Konoha's brutality. They brutally killed the leader and even spared the innocent ninjas in the village. Now the grass village is in chaos. Daimyo, they don't take you seriously at all, knowing that it is absolutely impossible to avenge the leader by themselves. The grass ninjas placed their last hope on the Daimyo of Grass Country. Although the Daimyo has no military power, he is the most noble person in the Grass Country. If the Daimyo is willing to put pressure on Konoha, maybe he can get justice for the dead leader. The Daimyo of Grass Country, who fanned the folding fan in his hand, gradually narrowed his eyes. Konoha's actions this time were a bit too much. Not only did he break into the grass village without permission and kidnap the grass village ninjas, but he also killed the leader of the grass village he appointed. You have to know that the leader of the hidden grass village has the same status as the Kage of the 5 major villages. This kind of thing is enough to cause a major diplomatic incident. What is the Daimyo of the Land of Fire doing? Konoha has been making such a big fuss recently, but there is no reaction at all. The Daimyo of the Land of Grass felt quite absurd. If he were the Daimyo of the Land of Fire, he would be furious when he learned about Konoha's recent actions, let alone the recent uproar over the collection of refugees. With his understanding of the Daimyo of the Land of Fire, how could the other party tolerate these dirty refugees running to the country he ruled? These low-class bitches die wherever they want. You must not tarnish your own country. It seems necessary to go to the Daimyo of the Land of Fire's mansion. The Daimyo of the Land of Grass covered the lower half of his face with a folding fan and squinted his eyes to make a decision. He wanted to see for himself whether the Daimyo of the Land of Fire was confused and would let Konoha mess around like this. What the Daimyo of Grass Country didn't know was that when he was about to leave for Fire Country, the Daimyo's mansion in Fire Country was experiencing an unprecedented chaos. Daimyo. Where is the Daimyo? We want to see the Daimyo. It's the Daimyo confused, turning a blind eye to Konoha's transgression. Where is the Daimyo? Where is the Daimyo-sama? A group of nobles dressed in gorgeous clothes were angrily surrounding the entrance of the Daimyo's mansion, emotionally excited and completely lacking the elegant demeanor of the nobles in the past. At this moment, they were more like a group of shrews with a lot of resentment in their hearts. Konoha's various actions have violated their interests many times. First, hybrid rice and experimental fields made the grain resources that were originally firmly controlled by these nobles have to be occupied by Konoha. Under the impact of hybrid rice, many nobles with grain industries under their command suffered heavy losses. However, the Daimyo seemed to turn a blind eye to all this. There was no toughness in the past. That time, they endured it. And now, they suddenly began to accept refugees on a large scale, calling it humanitarianism. What kind of humanitarianism? They are the masters of the land of Fire. Konoha is at best a military force that they have spent money to keep. It was fine to fight during the war, but now it has overtaken them. We must find the Daimyo. Konoha has already ridden on us. What is the Daimyo doing? More and more nobles gathered outside the Daimyo, and the station samurai were already overwhelmed and had difficulty maintaining order in the Daimyo's mansion. On the upper floor of the pavilion, Kakashi, wearing a mask, looked down at the scene indifferently. Konoha has made too many big moves recently, and illusion control alone can no longer suppress the anger of these nobles. The nobles headed by the Daimyo have become the biggest obstacle to Konoha. Kakashi can foresee the decision made by the 5th generation Hokage after learning what happened here. Is it coming? Change? There was a fire in his eyes. Konoha Village. Hokage Room. Namikaze Mirai, who was handling official business, Suddenly received an urgent important document. Frowning slightly. This kind of urgent scroll will only be used in the most urgent moments. What could it be? He opened the scroll and his eyes narrowed slightly. When he saw the contents, the scroll recorded what Kakashi saw and heard in the daimyo's mansion. The furious nobles had surrounded the daimyo's mansion and demanded that the daimyo give a reasonable explanation for Konoha's indulgence. It seems that using illusions to control the daimyo is not a long-term thing after all. Namikaze Mirai put down the scroll in his hand. A faint smile appeared in his azure eyes. He had naturally expected this kind of thing, but it came faster than he expected. It seems that it's time. His eyes were cold. Expel the daimyo from the stage of history. Meeting room on the third floor of the Hokage room. The invited Konoha high-level officials and the heads of the major ninja clans gathered in this meeting room, looking confused. Why did Lord Hokage summon us here so urgently? I don't know. It must be something very important, right? These high-ranking officials in Konoha were completely confused at the moment and couldn't figure out what was going on. This kind of example of gathering all of them together without any signs seemed to have never happened before. Only Orochimaru was thinking secretly at the conference table. He vaguely guessed something. Everyone, Namikaze Mirai, who was at the top of the conference table, looked around at the ninjas on the long table with his blue eyes. A change is coming. Change? The ninjas around the conference table looked at each other, either surprised or confused. What was the change that the Hokage was talking about? Among the people, Orochimaru was the only one with strong trembling and fire in his snake eyes. The heart is beating thump thump thump. Is it possible that in the future you will, don't you think that things like daimyo are too much of a hindrance? Namikaze Mirai smiled slightly. A famous name in the way. The conference room fell silent for a moment. In the future, do you want to? Uchiha Fugaku asked with slightly trembling pupils. That's right. Namikaze Mirai pondered. The era of daimyo and nobles has lasted for too long. I'm tired of such an unchanging world. This world should usher in new changes. Dead silence. Absolute silence. The ninjas around the conference table looked at Namikaze Mirai with shock and disbelief. Namikaze Mirai, is this going to kill the daimyo? Hokage-sama, the one country one village system was established by the first Hokage. Isn't it too hasty to break it like this? Times have changed. Namikaze Mirai glanced around, and the sound spread out. If you continue to look at the world with the past thinking, you will only be eliminated by the times. Aren't you looking forward to a brand new Fire Nation? A Fire Nation that integrates military and political affairs? Tell me your choice. Who agrees? Who opposes? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.